fechou, Chico.
Quiet on the set. Quiet, please. First positions, please. Rolling action.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Director's Cut. I am joined here with Mr. Ghulam Subhani.
Hey, Marco.
All right, and Catherine is here as well.
Hi.
And as Ghulam said, my name is Marco, and today we're going to be talking about a great film, one of the three parts of a really great trilogy called The Lord of the Rings.
By J.R.R. Tolkien. So it was books from forever ago that were recently made into a 3-part movie.
Right, so the first part is called...
Long movies.
Very long. And the first part is called The Fellowship of the Ring.
It's called the Fellowship of the Ring because a fellowship is like a group of people who come together for a common cause. And in this case, the common cause is...
The fight of good against evil.
the fight of good against evil, very generally, or getting rid of the Ring of Power, which was forged in Mordor.
Mordor. All right, so that's basically the story. There is a ring that was forged from like lava, right? Or some from the
And
depths of hell or something like that.
Yeah, and horror and evil and all things bad.
All things bad, yeah. Darkness.
All right. So, and this ring was forged in order to do what?
To control the world, to have absolute power.
Okay.
It makes the person immortal, doesn't it?
It does, and it makes them the supreme ruler. So there's other rings in the world, but none are as powerful as the One Ring.
Oh yeah, this one ring is the most powerful. It has control over all the other rings. So it's like the main.
And
ring.
where are the other rings?
The kings of men have 9 of them, and the dwarfs have 7 of them, and the elves have 3 of them.
All right. So, and then this one ring controls everyone.
Yes.
All right. So basically, the ring is evil. So whoever wears it kind of becomes more evil or obsessed with power and control, right?
It takes over you.
It takes over you.
Yeah. So the movie is about the battle of good and evil on Middle Earth, which is the place where this takes place. But it's also about the battle of good and evil in one person's soul, because whoever has the ring really has to deal with this fight inside of them.
So it's kind of an internal fight of ambition, of controlling your impulse to become better or immortal or something like that.
It is, and the special thing about this movie is that it doesn't feature a human being, man, powerful. It features a hobbit. Hobbits are special creatures.
So a hobbit is like a very small
version.
small person, right?
A small, hairy, big-footed, kind of dull person.
Okay.
They're kind of like elves, I think, but maybe bigger than elves.
Chubbier, and they're like humans, so they can die. Elves can't die.
So, what is the name of the main character of the Hobbit that carries the ring?
Frodo.
Frodo Baggins, right?
Yep.
And his uncle gave him the ring. His uncle, Bilbo.
Bilbo Baggins.
Bilbo Baggins gave him the
I
ring.
still remember.
All right. And you also have a different race. Apart from the hobbits, you have as you mentioned, the elves.
The elves have long, pointy ears and white hair, and they're very beautiful and, pure looking.
And they're immortal, right?
They're immortal, and they can kind of do spells and magic and stuff.
All right. And then you also have the elves. Dwarfs. And you also have the dwarfs.
Yeah, and they live in the caves, and they're great miners and builders. And they're also really small and stocky.
Okay. And then you have a wizard in there as well.
Yeah, what's his name?
Kind of like Merlin.
He is kind of like Merlin. He has that big gray beard.
He's tall. He's like a giant.
He is, compared to the hobbits especially.
And his name is Gandalf the Grey.
Gandalf.
I remember.
Gandalf.
And Gandalf has special powers as well. He's a very powerful wizard, and he's on the side of good. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of the guide for these little hobbits as they try to
I think it's
get
quite
to the
obvious that he's on the side of the good people because he's wearing white clothes. White symbolizes
Purity.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that Sauron is the opposite of him. He's like his foil. So where Gandalf is good, Sauron is the evil wizard.
And there is one supreme evil being that's like an eye that sees the land. So Sauron is like this eye. It's not really a person, right?
It's just like a power.
A power.
Evil power.
Right. Yeah. And Sauron is basically the person or the entity that wants the ring to, again, control all of Middle-earth.
That's right.
Sure.
All right, so it's very interesting. It sounds a little bit confusing, but it's a very interesting story, and because it's so detail-oriented and it has so many different angles and different races that in the end come together, that's why the movie, as Gulam mentioned, is pretty long. I think it lasts around 2.5 hours.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's only one of 3, so the whole movie is like 8 hours long.
Right.
But it feels shorter than that, and the genre is fantasy. So there, like you said, there's a lot of stuff you have to learn about this world that you're in. But it's really beautifully
It's well
shot.
made. It's well made.
It's really well made. Actors are amazing. The music
Special
is good.
effects.
The special effects are great.
yeah,
It was
perfect.
filmed in New Zealand,
Right.
and it's just gorgeous.
Very beautiful scenery. And it's also very interesting, all the different symbolisms that they take from different mythology, right?
Well, that's the interesting thing for me, because J.R.R. Tolkien was an expert in medieval history and in religion and literature from the age, and so a lot of the things that he writes about he takes from human history.
Right. So yeah, that's really interesting. From what I understand, it has a lot of Nordic influence as well, and it's the characters in general, right?
And their names.
And their names.
They're very Nordic sounding.
And also this language that the elves speak,
Elvish.
Elvish.
Yeah.
I understand that also some very some fans of the movie are actually fluent in Elvish,
That would not surprise me.
Like Klingon.
like Klingon
Like
from
Klingon.
Star Wars. All right, so we actually have a clip from the movie. It's pretty much the beginning, the introduction that explains what we just kind of talked about the origins of the ring, why it exists, and how it came to be so dangerous, right?
Yeah, this is one of the elves who's telling us about the backstory, the history of the ring, and how it got where it is today.
All right, let's listen.
It began with the forging of the great rings. 3 were given to the elves, immortal, wisest and fairest of all beings. 7 to the dwarf lords, great miners and craftsmen of the mountain halls. And 9 rings were gifted to the race of men who above all else desire power. For within these rings was bound the strength and will to govern each race. But they were all of them deceived, for another ring was made. In the land of Mordor, in the fires of Mount Doom, the Dark Lord Sauron forged in secret a master ring to control all others. And into this ring he poured his cruelty, his malice, and his will to dominate all life. One ring to rule them all. One by one, the free lands of Middle-earth fell to the power of the ring. But there were some who resisted. A last alliance of men and elves marched against the armies of Mordor, and on the slopes of Mount Doom, they fought for the freedom of Middle-earth.
All right, we're back. So that was interesting.
I thought we were listening to something, no?
Does it make you want to watch the movie again? It makes me want to watch the movie again.
It does.
It does.
I actually watched it
One ring
recently.
to rule them all.
It reminds me of Gollum, actually.
Yeah, your
It's
name
like-
kind of sounds
Yeah,
similar
I
to.
got that.
Gollum,
yeah.
Gollum,
No, I like the character. It was pretty good. It was I thought it was.
So this character is corrupted by the ring, right? Became all obsessed about it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. It hurts my throat. Yeah, he's totally obsessive. It's the ring. The ring has so much power over him.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he found it by chance, or he stole it from someone.
Oh, he and his
He-
friend find it one day in a pond, and then as soon as he puts it on or touches it, the evil power just takes over him. He ends up killing his friend who's with him, at the time when he finds it.
And his whole appearance changes and his personality changes.
Yeah, he obsesses over the ring every time.
But actually, the ring gave him an extended life, right?
Right, he's like hundreds of years old, I think.
Right.
Yeah, but then he's all deformed and he's ugly and he's turned into this other creature.
I saw this movie recently, about a month ago, because I bought the DVDs. And I bought the director's cut, so it was like the extended version. So it was 3.5 hours long.
Wow.
So it was it was pretty long, but you didn't really feel the difference, the extra hour, because you saw some really cool extra footage.
Should I borrow it?
Yeah,
I've never seen the extended.
I think all the DVDs have
all the
now.
DVDs come with them.
Oh.
Yeah, they're actually each set, like the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers.
Yeah.
And then the last one, what's it called?
The Return of the King.
The Return of the King. All of them are 2 DVDs. So in mid-movie, they actually say, okay, please insert disc 2, because it's filmed in high definition and everything.
That's how I watched it, actually.
Oh, I watched it in the theaters.
Pretty long.
Yeah.
All right, so all in all, Gulam, did you enjoy the movie? Do you recommend it?
I do, but there's a side effect or downside. Once you start watching it, you will want to watch the next 2 movies immediately.
So you have to set aside a good 10 hours or 12 hours of your life.
Weekend.
Yeah, like a weekend. Like you need a whole day for that. So.
Really?
True.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's how I feel. I don't know.
Is that what you did?
Yeah. Wasn't good though.
I had friends who watched them all in one day. They had a marathon.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know what's
Extended version marathon.
Wow.
And the worst thing is you keep doing it over and over.
Oh, so you watched it again?
Yeah.
Whoa, Gulam.
It's like
really?
you had the whole marathon a couple
You
of
spent
times.
like literal days of your life watching that
No,
movie.
it was more like I was the only guy who had the DVDs, and friends would come over, and as soon as they started watching it, they just want to finish watching the rest of the movie.
So you were pretty
and
much...
then and I had to sit there, and then I didn't mind that. I thought it was pretty okay.
All right. What about you, Catherine? You recommend the movie?
Absolutely. I give it an A, and I think it's a modern classic. It's beautifully shot. The story is brilliant. Everything about it is great.
It won many awards, right? Many
It did,
Academy
and
Awards.
rightfully so. Although I have to admit, of the series, of the trilogy, my favorite is The Two Towers. I think it's the darkest of the 3 movies, and I think it's just really gorgeous the way that they have all the different shots. We can talk about that another time.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about The Two Towers and The Return of the King.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
In different shows. So, but that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this, and we definitely recommend you go out, buy the DVD, and watch this movie if you haven't done so. And if you have, well, it's pretty good to watch it again, and as I said, watch the extended version. It's pretty interesting.
So let us know what you think. Did you give it an A, B, C? You didn't like it. If you didn't like it, why didn't you like it?
All right, so we'll talk to you guys next time, and bye.
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 Cut! That's a wrap! Quiet on the set! Quiet, please! First positions, please! Rolling action!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Director's Cut.
Hello, Marco.
Hey.
All right, I'm joined here again with Mr. Gulam Subhani.
Hi, Marco.
Do I pronounce your last name correctly?
Yeah, it's Subhani.
Yeah, all right. And Catherine Mathis.
Hey.
And my name is Marco, and today we're going to talk about this relatively new movie and very controversial, Bruno.
Bruno.
So Bruno is the newest of the Sacha Cohen characters, so his alter egos. What do you call this?
Yeah, they're just characters that he's created. So the most famous, I guess, is Ali G.
Ali G.
It is the best, I would say.
He also had
I like Borat.
Borat.
I think Borat is his funniest.
I thought Ali G was the best.
Right. Now, Sacha Cohen, he's from England.
He's from London.
And so he's a comedian / actor, and he has these different characters that he does in different shows or in different movies.
And they're humorous. He's always funny.
Yeah,
Now
he's always funny.
his comedy is a little bit crude at times and a little bit offensive. It sometimes makes fun of certain cultures, but in a very borderline way.
Not very borderline. I think he's pretty obviously making fun of people when he makes jokes.
I think he knows no limits. That's what I feel. Like that's what I felt when I watched Bruno. Like Bruno just crosses all the boundaries. It's like you just cannot set a perimeter with him.
Yeah.
Everything's useless. It's like,
Well, yeah, I think he does go way out there, but there was a lot of expectations on this movie because everyone seemed to really like Borat.
Yeah.
And-
Except for Kazakis.
Right.
They were not happy. They thought he was making fun of them. He wasn't. He was making fun of Americans.
Because of the image or the
Because he said, "Welcome to my country, Kazakhstan. I am here in Kazakhstan, and we have the cow and my girl and my..." And, you know, he's making fun of how, like, poor and backward they are. But
this is my disco.
Yeah.
That
This
was
is
funny.
this is my radio. It is bigger than my neighbors. But the thing is, it was filmed in Romania, and all of my Kazakh friends are like, obviously, we're not as, like, poor as Romanians. So, like, yeah, he pissed people off, but
All right. So now this one, Bruno, where's Bruno from?
Germany,
Germany.
Austria.
Austria.
All right, so he's German or Austrian, and what is the main focus of the movie?
He's a gay fashion icon who supposedly has a fashion show, like TV show, where he talks about
Yeah.
fashion and style. And the reality is that he's a complete moron with no fashion sense, who
Nothing,
is
yeah.
who is like a caricature of just an obnoxious person.
So he's also very ignorant, right?
Yeah, I would say he's more stupid. Just plain
he's
stupid.
just stupid.
Yeah.
And he wears these ridiculous clothes. Like, he wears a Velcro suit to a runway show, and then he, like,
Yeah.
gets all the clothes stuck to him, and he goes on the runway and makes a complete fool of himself. Or, like, he wears a lot of, like, spandex and pleather and, like,
Yeah, the
cutoffs.
scene you just mentioned, that was actually a turning point in the movie. That was what pushed the movie forward. It's like, there's not much in the movie, though, to push it forward. But then there was this one scene, he's dressed up in a Velcro prototype. And then somehow he manages to get into an accident. He runs into a clothes rack, and then all the clothes just stick to him. Of course, it's Velcro. And then I think he crashes the whole fashion show.
Yeah.
And then he's banned from all the fashion shows in Austria, everything, Europe, I guess. So
And he has to go to America to reinvent himself.
that's how the movie starts.
That's how it starts.
That's how.
That's interesting because, for example, Borat didn't really have. Well, it had an objective, but it was all very loose.
Pamela.
Pamela Anderson. Pamela Anderson was the objective in that one, and in
she
this
had to
one,
do something with a man on a boat.
and on this occasion, now Bruno has to reinvent himself in America to become a renowned fashion designer. Yeah. All right. So we have a scene picked out for this movie. Catherine, you want to help us out and explain it?
Sure. Well, a lot of the movie is about parodying existing celebrities. For example, making fun of Madonna and her adopted baby, or making fun of people who go to foreign countries and try and help the peace process. And so Borat, trying to be a good celebrity, goes to Israel and has a meeting with an Israeli and a Palestinian. And the meeting, he shows all of his ignorance and makes these huge mistakes. And he's trying to talk about Hamas, but he keeps talking about hummus, the food. And so that's the clip that we're going to hear right now.
All right. So let's listen.
Why are you so anti-Hamas? I mean, isn't pita bread the real enemy?
You're confusing Hamas with hummus, I believe. Hummus has
Do you
nothing to
think
do
there
with
is a
Hamas.
relation between Hamas and hummus?
So was the founder of Hamas a chef? He had created the food and then got lots of followers.
Hummus has nothing to do with Hamas. It's a food, okay? We eat it, they eat it.
It's vegetarian, it's healthy,
Oh.
it's beans.
So do you both agree on that?
We both agree that hummus is very healthy.
So we're making progress. Let's try and get a solution, right? Because I'm not going to be here forever. Will you, the Palestinians, agree to give the pyramids back to the Israelis?
This is in Egypt, not in Palestine.
All right. So obviously, Hamas and hummus are two very different things.
Very different things.
Definitely different.
And part of the genius of this scene is that the character is just so stupid.
That he doesn't realize it.
No, and like these people are obviously taking it very seriously, and he just can't read people. He can't understand their emotions.
Wow. So I imagine if this happened to somebody in Israel, they would feel either very angry or very, very entertained by the ignorance
It's
of this
supposed to be
person.
funny. I think it should be taken in that sense.
In a lighter sense.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
a lighter sense.
Now, do you think like this parody or making fun of Madonna's adoptive babies and stuff like that? Do you think it crosses the line, or do you think it's still in good humor and it's not really too much?
I think it crosses a line, but I don't really have a problem with that. The problem I had was that I just didn't think many of the jokes were very funny. I don't have a problem with like making fun of people or like because it's so ridiculous that it's not really serious. So anyone who watches it understands like it's not real.
I wonder what it feels like to be a celebrity and be made fun of in this way. Like, for example, if you're Paris Hilton or you're Madonna or you're Angelina Jolie or something like
I
that.
think they get used to it. It's part of the. It's like an occupation. It has a.
It's a,
And it's attention. I mean,
Yeah.
people want attention, obviously. So
so
it's
they keep talking about them.
Well, they
Yeah.
do stuff to get attention in the first place. So.
Now, going back to the movie, as I mentioned, had a lot of hype, and it was very. Everyone looked forward to it, and on the opening day after that, I think it grossed a lot of money, and then it just went down. People didn't seem to like it.
Yeah, I didn't think the movie was that funny. I mean, I thought there were some scenes that were really funny, but it didn't carry an hour and a half. Not nearly as much as Borat, which like grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. So
Yeah, definitely. Not you cannot compare it to Borat. Borat was much superior, I would say, compared to this movie.
Interesting. Now, there's actually another movie that was that maybe we'll talk about on another occasion. It was Zohan, and it was kind of along the same line, I think, like Adam Sandler trying to create a character.
It had a good message though. At the end.
I liked Don't Mess with the Zohan. Maybe because Zohan might be based on my boyfriend's uncle.
Silky smooth.
No, he used to be Israeli military, and he came to America to fulfill his dream of being a hairdresser.
Wow, really?
Whoa.
Wow. He should you should interview him.
We should.
Maybe it was based on his real life. All right, so all in all, Bruno, recommend watching it or not?
If you have nothing to do, I would watch it.
All right. So
if you have other things to do,
don't.
I'd watch Borat again.
All right. Gulam?
I would say try it out. Like I couldn't watch it after the first 1.5 hour or so. So I would say it depends on your tolerance level.
Yeah,
Alright.
in the background maybe.
Yeah,
The
yeah, that's what I
background
did
while
actually. Yeah,
while you're
you're right,
cooking
actually.
or while you're cleaning
Yeah.
the house.
Be warned though, I mean, he's very, very pretty nude for most of the movie.
Yeah, I was told the movie is quite funny. That's why I watched it in the first place. But then when I started watching it after a while, it seemed a bit too much. Like it just crosses the line. There is no line.
So you were deceived.
Sort of. It didn't quite seem what I expected. It wasn't as funny as the previous movies he did, but
All right.
then yeah, after a while it was just all in the background.
All right, so the general consensus is if you have nothing to do on a Sunday and you have an hour and a half to kill, watch this movie. Or if you're one day cleaning the house or cooking, pop it in and just listen to it and watch
Yeah.
it sporadically. All right, so interesting. That's the first movie we actually have a pretty bad review about.
Yeah, I give it like a C-.
Well,
C-.
it was an honest opinion.
Yeah, it's good.
I wouldn't say we have nothing against.
All right.
guy.
I guess Sashako. No, I personally enjoyed him
No,
in
I
Ali
love
G.
him. I mean,
I really, really
I
liked
love
him in
this
Ali
movie.
G.
Well, if you guys, our listeners, have different opinions, please let us know. This is not a final verdict, of
Right.
course. This
Sure,
is just our
leave your
opinions.
comments.
So yeah, come to our website at englishpod.com and leave those comments, thoughts, and/or questions for us.
All right. So we'll see
I'll
you guys there.
I'll try to leave some comments as well.
All right, Gulam,
Please do.
we would be honored with your presence. We'll see everyone there.
Bye.
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 Cut! That's a wrap! Quiet on the set! Quiet, please! First positions, please! Rolling action!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Director's Cut. I am joined here with Bill.
Hello.
And Bill is another fellow movie lover, and on this occasion, we're talking about one of our favorite films of all time, well, the saga of all time, which is Indiana Jones.
Yes, a childhood favorite of mine.
It's exactly, it's from the 80s, right? Early 80s.
Yeah.
So we were actually not even really born when the first one came out.
Right, it's kind of the same thing with Star Wars.
Star Wars.
So Star Wars was one of my childhood absolute favorite films. Harrison Ford obviously stars in both. That was the link between them for me. But yeah, I mean, they came out before I was really conscious, yet they really form, my view of the world. I don't know, is that saying too much?
My philosophy is based on Star Wars and Indiana Jones. All right, so Indiana Jones has 4 movies. That's the saga. The first one is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes.
Which is the original title. I think they didn't really expect to come out with a series because the first movie is called Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Why would that not signify they're having more movies?
Well, because then the second one was called Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Oh, okay, so the first one didn't have Indiana Jones
No, it didn't.
in the front.
It was just called Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, I had no idea.
And then the second one was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And then the third one is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Right.
And the fourth one, Indiana Jones and the Skeleton Skull. What is it?
The Crystal Skull?
The Crystal Skull. Now,
I guess it wasn't the Last Crusade. It's the next to Last Crusade. Let's hope.
Actually, the fourth one stands out because it wasn't as good as the first 3, right?
Right. Well, I mean, they didn't make it until, at least 20 years?
20 years later?
Yeah, I mean, something like that.
So the fourth one, did you watched it, right?
The fourth one?
Yeah.
The latest one, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Same thing happened with Star Wars, where they started releasing... Star Wars is a little bit different because... they released the prequels, and so a lot of the real movies, we could say, the original movies, had their basis in the prequels. But this Indiana Jones thing just seems like such an add-on, like just trying to attract more viewers based on their previous affection for the movie. I just can't stand that.
I guess it's like
marketing.
the 2 last movies of Sylvester Stallone as well, like Rambo 4 and Rocky 6.
Right.
It was like the last... just like the last huff of breath of air that Sylvester Stallone had to make those 2 last movies.
Right. I mean, and it's marketed directly to people like us, our age.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because when we were kids, we weren't forced to see these movies, but maybe we were taken by our parents or we grew up with these movies. And now that we have some income, we say, hey, why don't we try and make some more money off of these people by creating some more movies?
So the first one, Raiders of the Lost Ark, did you like it?
Yeah, I mean, all 3 of them. I mean, yeah, I loved all of them. Raiders of the Lost Ark, in the 3, I think I like it the best.
Really? The first one?
Yeah.
Why?
It doesn't have that franchisey kind of kitsch to it. I mean, the later 2 kind of play off of his character in the first movie. So it's kind of derivative, maybe we could say, like, it's not as original, maybe.
Right.
But I mean, all 3 have their good points. But Raiders of the Lost Ark definitely, it strikes me as like one of the scarier ones and one of like the.
It was pretty scary.
And the action, I think, is a little better too in the first one.
So Raiders of the Lost Ark, basically, they are the Nazis are looking for the Ark of the Covenant, which is like this. Supposedly, it's where they transported the 10 Commandments.
Right.
So
the actual tablets.
So it's supposedly it's a very powerful instrument, and whoever has the Ark of the Covenant has like absolute power.
Right.
And obviously the Nazis are after it.
Yeah.
And
that's something I was thinking about just when I thought when I heard we were going to be doing this episode about Indiana Jones. Is just I love the one-sidedness of the enemies. Like any villain in a lot of action movies is just pure evil, but it seems like in Indiana Jones
it's always Nazis.
Yeah, well, it's Nazis or I guess it is always Nazis. Well, besides the second one.
The second one wasn't Nazis. The third one was the Last Crusade. It was also Nazis looking for the Holy Grail.
Right, and you can't argue with you can't. There's no common ground with Nazis. It's very easy to hate the enemies in all Indiana Jones, and I think that's.
I think that's also American movies in general. The enemies are usually either Nazis or the Russians.
The Russians, yeah.
Or on certain occasions, the Chinese.
And absolutely no redeeming qualities whatsoever. It doesn't complicate things at all.
This is actually a very common pattern in Hollywood. But then the
heroes are purely good and the enemies are purely evil.
Purely evil. The second one, Temple of Doom, was also very good. It was set in India, so it was interesting because it had a lot to do with like religion and magic as well. I guess all 3 of them have to do with religion.
Yeah, because he's an archaeologist, right? So I think that's kind of one of the more interesting parts of the script is that it introduces you to some semi-historical things. I mean, obviously they're not completely accurate, but
it does make
interesting.
It does make the profession of being an archaeologist look really cool.
Totally cool.
But in reality, I mean, archaeologists spent like...
They don't carry pistols around, usually.
They don't have whips.
Yeah.
All right, and then, so in the second one, he was looking for some stones. returning them to the village.
Right, magic stones that were stolen by the most evil person.
Yeah, it was like
in India.
a witch guy,
Yeah.
and he would take out your heart, and he would say Kalimang. You remember that? He would go Kalimang and take out your heart.
Yeah.
All right, and then in
good one.
the third one, he actually teams up with his dad in the movie, Sean Connery.
Right.
And then they look for the Holy Grail.
You're right. And that, I think that's the only one of the Indiana Jones movies that I remember watching in the theater.
Oh, really?
And I remember just having this feeling, this like kind of self-reflective feeling, because you've seen the two ones previous, and then you see that one, and it's like, it was almost the first time I ever realized that a movie had like a formula and was being like marketed
Really?
to certain people. Yeah, because as you're going through it, I mean, the action is like nonstop. The action's really great,
Yeah.
Maybe that's just the first time I realized that, because I grew up watching the first two. It was
Right,
like
right,
a home
right.
video type of situation. I watch them endlessly, And then I finally saw this other one, and it was so obviously a product of the first two movies
Right, yeah.
that it struck me as
It's
quite
true.
strange.
It was very similar, because in the first one they're looking for a religious object,
Right.
and in the third one also it's the same thing. Like,
Right, the cup that held Christ's blood.
exactly,
Is that
the one
right?
that he used in the Last Supper.
Right.
It was kind of interesting that it was guarded by what are these guys called? The one that Dan Brown talks about.
The night guide that was
The
guarded?
knights. What are
You
they-
have chosen wisely.
You have chosen wisely. Yeah, so there was like 100 cups there, and he chose like
Right,
the carpenter's
Yeah,
cup.
the simplest, historically accurate cup that he can find.
Yeah, not a gold one or like with gems and jewels.
I feel like we're being too critical of this, because it is entertainment.
Yeah,
And
it was.
and it is totally entertaining. Really good.
I really like the scene where he had to like have faith and cross that huge gorge, and he just had to because there was like an invisible path,
Right.
And he just like throw sand on it, and then he was able to cross.
Right, well, he threw sand on it after he
After-
got over, which
yeah.
always surprised. Like, why didn't he throw sand on it before he went, before he took this step?
Yeah, so
Maybe someone can post on the board if they know the answer to that.
exactly. So the movie was all three of them were great, but yeah, I would have to agree. I actually really enjoyed Raiders of the Lost Ark because it was the first one. It was really graphic as well, like the scene where like everyone melts.
Yeah. All those are permanently, just imprinted on my brain because I saw them at such a young age.
But yeah, actually, I really liked the Temple of Doom because of also the crazy food that they have in the dinner table, like the monkey brains and all that stuff, and the snake.
Yeah.
He like cuts open the snake and all the
then
baby
there's
snakes.
all little
in them.
snakes inside. Yeah,
and
it's
also
pretty disgusting.
the insect part where they're going through the cave and there's full of insects.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. There's certain things about Indiana Jones that all the movies are gonna have, and that's, it's comforting almost. There's always a gross out part with like gross snakes or insects or bugs. Like in the first one, he falls into the pit with the snakes.
Yeah.
The second one, it's eating the insects. The third one, it's all the rats underneath the church.
Oh yeah, that's
And
right.
so there's always these things that always recur, He always almost loses his hat or his whip.
Yeah, his
Or
head.
something. He always has to grab it under a door that's about to close, and he gets it just in the nick of time. There's something really comforting about him.
Yeah, that's.
But I
true.
think, from a film perspective, a critical
Well, and-
perspective, sometimes it's pretty formulaic.
And the movies are directed by Steven Spielberg, I
Right.
think, right?
Right,
And
yeah.
George Lucas is involved somehow.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe he directed some of the early ones or the first one, and it was produced by Spielberg. I'm not quite sure. So I'll have
I'm
to
not
look
really
that
sure
up.
either. But yeah, in all, I really enjoyed the saga. The fourth one, we don't really get into it because it was a little bit different and not really probably even worth mentioning. I didn't personally.
Trash.
I didn't really like it.
Did you watch it?
I did.
didn't even see it.
I like the fact that it's actually set in Peru, one aspect, and
Okay.
it's the whole thing of the Nazca lines. You know how they have the lines? They're like in the fields. In the desert of Peru, you can see the
from way up,
above.
way
Yeah,
up
you
above,
can see
yeah.
like the form of a monkey or a spider.
Right.
or a
Okay.
person.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
So, and then many people relate it to being created by aliens. So then the movie actually creates the link between the early Incas and aliens and all that cool stuff.
Wow, really?
So yeah, it is.
Is it
interesting.
worth checking out? For free?
It's just for free. If your friend has a DVD and can lend it to you or something, then yeah, it's an okay just closure to the saga, I guess. Just like it's the way
They don't leave the door open for another one.
not really.
Harrison Ford is
he's like 60.
bless his heart, but he's probably not going to be around for another series.
No, probably not. So yeah, go out and watch it. It was interesting, and actually, the crystal skull, the history behind it is interesting as well. You know, there actually was a crystal
There's
skull
historical basis behind it.
Yeah,
like the rest of the
kind
movies.
of. But then
It's
they
always
go
kind of.
they go they go a little bit too into fiction. So check it out. We're actually going to listen real fast to a clip of Raiders of the Lost Ark when he's describing the Ark of the Covenant. So let's listen.
Nazis have discovered Tanis.
Just what does that mean to you, Tanis?
Well, the city of Tanis is one of the possible resting places of the Lost Ark.
The Lost Ark?
Yeah, the Ark of the Covenant, the chest the Hebrews used to carry around the Ten Commandments.
What do you mean, Commandments? You're talking about the Ten Commandments?
Yes, the actual Ten Commandments, the original stone tablets that Moses brought down out of Mount Horeb and smashed, if you believe in that sort of thing. You guys ever go to Sunday school?
Well,
well, look. The Hebrews took the broken pieces and put them in the Ark. When they settled in Canaan, they put the Ark in a place called the Temple of Solomon.
In Jerusalem.
Where it stayed for many years. Until all of a sudden, whoosh, is gone.
Where?
Well, nobody knows where or when.
However, an Egyptian pharaoh...
Shishak.
Yes, invaded the city of Jerusalem around about 980 BC, and he may have taken the ark back to the city of Tanis and hidden it in a secret chamber called the Well of Souls.
Secret chamber.
However, about a year after the pharaoh had returned to Egypt, the city of Tanis was consumed by the desert in a sandstorm which lasted a whole year. Wiped clean by the wrath of God.
All right, we're back. So that's pretty accurate historically, I think.
Right, and there's something I've been thinking about it. These movies, I'm not sure if it was the first, but I think it definitely started a trend of these historically semi-historical entertainment sector. I mean, you just mentioned like Dan Brown, right? Like he's made a huge career out of writing about sort of historical,
but fiction
as well, kind of his genre. I mean, also what Nicolas Cage has been in a few movies as well,
like National Treasure and stuff.
Right,
like
right.
That.
And I think those traditions are pretty well rooted in Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's true. I think people like it because it's pretty easy to understand, and it also it's a little bit of history, but then people take it as historical. It's like, this is the truth. This guy knows what he's talking about.
The history, yeah.
So
entertaining history.
Yeah, it's entertaining, especially Dan Brown, I think. All right, well, maybe we'll talk about one of Dan Brown's books that was later made into a film, which is The Da Vinci Code. That was pretty interesting. Angels and Demons as well. So maybe we'll touch that topic later on the next episode. But that's it for today. If you have any questions or comments, please visit our website, englishpod.com, and we'll see you guys there.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cut! That's a wrap! Quiet on the set. Quiet, please. First positions, please. Rolling action.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Director's Cut. I am joined here with Bill.
Hello, everybody.
And I'm joined here with Scarlett.
Hi.
And today we're going to talk about, well, it's close to Halloween, and as many of you may or may have not noticed...
Boo.
Yeah, that was scary, Bill. A lot of TV channels or like a lot of Hollywood scary movies start coming out, and we're going to talk about the top 10 scariest movies of all time. So not necessarily only horror, but just movies that were really, really scary.
Is this an official list?
No, it's like kind of my list.
This is Marco's.
It's your list.
This is
Marco's.
like
So they might not be very scary at all.
Well, I mean, they were scary for me.
Okay.
All right, so let's start with number 10.
Is this the least scary?
Yeah, kind of. Nightmare on Elm Street. Do you remember that one?
I mean, I haven't seen it, but I know all about it. Maybe that's...
All right.
That's not what makes it scary, but it's a popular scary movie.
Well, yeah, it's very old. It's like 1980s. Even Johnny Depp was in the first one, I think.
Really?
I think it's the first or the second one. The first one, Johnny Depp was in it.
I love Johnny Depp.
And so basically, it's about a guy that was killed in a neighborhood because he was like kidnapping children or something like that. And so then he kind of comes back as this burnt creature with like extended knives on his hand that were like nail. But the thing is that he would kill you in your dreams. So you would be afraid of falling asleep because then that's when he would appear.
And then that's how they confront him too, right?
Right, you have to confront him in their dreams, not in the real world.
What? So he
Freddy
kills you in
Krueger.
his dream?
in your dreams, yeah.
And then,
And then
you
you're
die.
actually dead.
And then
Yeah,
you die
yeah,
in real
you die
life.
in real life.
I know this because of The Simpsons, actually, from the Halloween episode of The Simpsons.
They did
That's
that?
probably how I know maybe every single one of these. We'll see. I don't know the list yet. But yeah.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really make much sense, like he's killing you in your dreams, but that's the scary part. It's just like, how does he do it? And the thing is that maybe the movie is kind of cheesy, and if I actually saw it again like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and the effects were really cheesy, but but it's actually is if you think about it, you're like 11 or 12 years old and you're afraid of falling asleep because you might die.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so that's number 10. Number 9 is Poltergeist.
Hey, okay. Yeah,
You remember
I've seen
Poltergeist?
I haven't seen that.
that's actually probably one of the scariest movies I ever saw, for the same reason, because I think I was only like 5, or I was older than 5. Maybe I was like 6 or 7 when I first saw that. And it was the first scary movie I saw, and
It's pretty creepy.
So damn
What's it
scary.
All right, so basically, you know what a poltergeist is, right? It's like
Yeah.
a ghost that you can't really see and moves things in your house.
Yeah, messes around.
This
Yeah.
is like a ghost, yeah.
So basically, that's what the movie's about. There's this house, I think, that was like built over these old
Built over
Indian
an Indian
ruins.
burial ground. Yeah.
and so like weird things start happening in this house, but it was like really creepy because like I don't know, the girl would walk into her living room, or no, the kitchen, and the chairs would be piled up on top of each other on top of the table, and like with a little girl on top.
Whoa.
Because they had a little daughter.
Right.
And
she
then,
was like, she was the one that was in most communication with the poltergeist. Or
Yeah,
from what
she
I
could,
remember,
like,
The children can always
went,
communicate with.
and she went to the other side.
yeah, and
or
then they had to
something.
rescue her.
And they had,
It was pretty freaky though. It was pretty scary.
I remember something about they threw a tennis ball into the other side.
Yeah, to
With
see
the
where
mess-
they would fall out.
something like that. And this is the only time I ever saw it, when I was like 6 or 7. So I don't remember a lot of these details, but the things I do remember are
scary,
intensely
How old is the film?
It's also quite old.
Yeah, this film must be like at least 25 years old, 20 years old.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. It's at
All
least
right.
20 years old.
A more contemporary one, number 8, the film Seven. You ever seen Seven? Brad
I
Pitt.
haven't either.
Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman.
I've already
heard of it. I've never seen it.
I've already let our audience know my views on Brad Pitt, so I'm just gonna sit this one out.
Right. Well, Morgan Freeman's cool though.
I don't have anything against Morgan Freeman.
What have you got
whatsoever.
against Brad Pitt?
I'm not gonna go into it. It's an irrational dislike. Okay.
All right, so basically Seven follows this serial killer who is at each crime scene is sending the message of the 7 capital sins. So like the first one is gluttony, and then like lust. So there's a different message in each murder.
Yeah.
And the movie is kind of twisted the way that he kills people and what he's doing to them, but the ending is really unexpected. It's really, really good.
A twist.
Yeah, because because he does in the end, it's the 2 last capital sins in one. So it's really, really cool. You got to see it.
Is that the twist?
Yeah, well,
You just gave it away.
That's part of the twist. No,
Alright,
that's
okay.
part of the twist. All right, number 7, you have to have seen this, and this is like one of the most famous theme songs, Psycho.
No.
No, Norman Bates.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Jaws. Yeah.
You know when he stabs the girl in the shower.
It's a Hitchcock.
Yeah. Oh,
It's a
yes,
Hitchcock
yes,
film.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
So they're like they've been. You haven't seen it?
It's the same. It's the same way as Nightmare on Elm Street. I feel like I know a lot about
So
it,
heard a lot.
but it's like part of the cultural, lexicon.
But this is like Hitchcock. This is like
yeah.
this
I
is
still
like-
haven't seen it though. I should see. I have seen other Hitchcock, but
Birds?
I've seen The Birds and
Birds is
Vertigo.
Vertigo is cool too.
Vertigo is quite good.
Well, Psycho, it's been remade like 3 or 4 times, I think.
Right.
But it's really, really
Is that
good.
the one with Jack Nicholson in? No.
No,
No,
that comes later.
Oh, is that on the
sorry.
list?
All
Okay,
right.
good.
Well, Psycho is really good. Number 6 is the movie The Omen with Damien. It's the first movie that actually put the Antichrist to the movie screen.
Is this an American?
That's not the
film?
one with the little girl that goes backwards down the stairs.
No,
is it?
that's The Exorcist.
No, that's the Exorcist. Okay, no, haven't seen this either.
All right, The Omen is like about the Antichrist coming to Earth, and the Antichrist actually comes in the form of a little boy who is put into the household of this really powerful like ambassador, I think it was. Like it was the American ambassador in Great Britain or something like that. But it's really good and it's really creepy because, you know, he's got followers and he's got the 666 in his skull. So that's how they find out that it's the Antichrist, and he's born from a jackal.
Ooh. Whoa.
I know. You got to see it. You guys are like, you guys have been missing out.
Okay, we'll go see it.
All right. Number 5. You have to have seen this one as well. Jaws.
Yes, everyone's seen Jaws.
Yeah, I've seen Jaws.
Oh, you haven't seen Jaws?
I have seen Jaws. I don't think I've seen all the way through. It was kind of a Saturday.
But that's not scary. I'm sorry.
I've seen lots of portions of it on Saturday afternoons.
It's not really scary, the movie, right? But the next time you go to the beach, you're seriously doubting whether you should get into the water.
Right after you watch the movie.
Yeah.
And then the next time you go to the beach. I hear you.
Yeah, because you're like, what if Jaws is in there? He eats me.
What's going on? What is Jaws at?
Jaws is pretty freaky. Number 4 is Silence of the Lambs.
Yep, seen that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, so that's more like of a psychological thriller.
Yeah, it's creepy.
It's twisted, right?
Yeah, I'd say twisted. Not so much creepy though. Like,
you don't think
scary.
it was creepy?
It's creepy, but not scary.
Put the lotion in the basket.
That's from the movie. I'm not just
being that was a quote. It was pretty freaky, but actually, the crazy thing was that I think it did have certain elements of real mass murders, like like Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer, who were like famous American psychos.
Right.
All right, the next one, number 3, is one of the goriest films of all time, probably, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Have you seen that one?
Haven't seen that.
You really picked the wrong people to do this.
I've got the DVD, but I haven't seen it.
You have the DVD?
Maybe I'll go watch it later.
Well, they did a new version.
They remade it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard they remade a lot of classic horror movies in the last few years.
Yeah, like better special effects and everything.
Right.
It's creepy, it's scary, but there's a lot of blood and gore in this movie.
Gruesome and
it's very, very gruesome. All right, number 2.
I don't get the appeal of those films. Like Saw as well.
Gory.
It's just awful.
Well, what about Saw? Saw is
Hostel
like,
and stuff like that. It's just, ugh.
Well, Saw and Hostel, they're like very gory, but
that's it. It's just a gimmick. Like, I hate that stuff. I watched Saw and it was like literally the most boring movie I ever saw in my entire life.
I was
No,
scared.
it was the first one. And they've already made like another 6 of them with the same exact plot, the same
Saw
exact
5,
everything.
Saw 6.
I think the thing about Saw, like what I liked about it is how does this guy come up with these things? Like behind the scenes things. Like the person that's writing these things up is really creative and kind of twisted.
Or a bit sick.
Can you imagine living with this guy or like being married to him?
He's
like,
probably like the nicest guy in the world. Yeah. Totally normal.
Yeah, he's got
dark.
like
It's just
he's
so
got
dark.
like 2 golden retrievers.
I'm sure
lives out, like,
he's
in the-
got to be like the sunniest, happiest dude.
With children and everything.
All right, so number 2 is the one that you were talking about, The Exorcist.
Hey, I know that.
Yeah, I would put that. Yeah, I'd say that's
That
a
is
top
quite
2
scary.
scary
All right,
movie.
so that was 1980s as well. The music was
70s,
creepy.
I believe.
It's maybe late 70s.
70s.
The music was really creepy.
Oh, very creepy.
And
everything is really scary about that movie.
Well,
Especially that scene where he comes down the
Where
stairs.
stairs.
She walks downstairs.
walking
That's I think that's a recent edition. That wasn't in the
Oh,
original
really?
edition. Yeah, they cut it out of the original edition, I think.
Well, there was a lot of controversy around this film, right? Because for example, I think there were some elements that like the church really opposed.
Well, because you know they say the church doesn't do exorcisms anymore. I'm not Catholic.
And then there's this whole thing about like how a lot of like during filming of the Exorcist, like 2 or 3 people of the cast died.
Really?
Yeah, like a cameraman and then like some other person that like died. So then people were just like, this is like messing with the unknown.
Yeah,
and it's really creepy.
It's like messing with King Tut's tomb. Man.
Yeah, something like that.
It's a curse.
So
it is terribly scary though.
The part when she throws up was pretty gruesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that part's just kind of funny.
Yeah, I was
Well,
laughing
it's funny
a little bit
because
in that.
now you like see it in that other movie. What was that movie? Scary Movie. They make fun of it.
Well, yeah, it's the same thing. It's such a popular and so ingrained in our popular culture.
Yeah.
All right, and
The sow is mine. That's also from the movie. Sure, that's what she says.
Thanks.
And number 1, Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
I'm glad that's your
that's
number
a good
1.
number 1. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree
it's
with
good,
that.
right?
That's pretty
because
good.
that's a really complete kind of scary movie, I think.
Yeah.
because it's creepy, has like a open ending, open to interpretation. It's a Stanley Kubrick film too, so it's shot really
and Jack
beautifully.
Nicholson is really good in
Jack Nicholson is
Yeah,
great.
it was really good in there.
Olive Oil's in it. I don't. She played Olive Oil, but she was Danny's mother.
I don't remember what it was. But yeah, I think the freakiest thing about the movie is the scene that's the most popular now is when the kid is on the big wheel on the little tricycle and he's riding around and then he's like he turns on the hallway and he's
in the
two
corridor
twins.
bit. Yeah.
The twins.
And like, come with us, come play with
The
us.
British twins. Yeah.
And you're like, what?
It's really creepy.
That is
Scary
really
British
creepy.
twins.
Yeah. If they were American, it wouldn't be nearly.
Yeah, that's why they were British. Because that makes it even.
Really, I thought. I mean, it's not really scary, but the end, the very, very end, where I don't want to give it away.
Yeah, don't give it
I won't give it away. But you guys know what I'm talking about, and that's creepy.
Yeah,
the
it
photograph, the photograph at the very end.
Yeah, that was
because
really...
that's such an open-ended thing, you know.
It kinda...
I think that's Kubrick. That's Kubrick's
Yeah.
doing more than Stephen King. Stephen King wrote the original book. I feel like that kind of weird open-endedness.
I'm actually surprised I didn't put any Stephen King in here.
Well, he did at number 1.
Well, yeah, but like apart from this, he's made some really good ones. Like for example, we were talking about It the other day.
Right.
That was like a 3-hour-long film, which was like it wasn't really made for the cinema. It was like for TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really scary though. It's about a clown, and that's why I'm like one of the
clowns
reasons
are
why
scary,
I'm
though, so-
really afraid of clowns.
Yeah.
Can we do an honorable mention for, I guess, just anything that David Lynch does? Do you guys like David Lynch?
Like what?
Mulholland Drive is probably the creepiest David Lynch movie ever. Have you seen it?
No.
Have you seen any David Lynch movies? Okay.
No.
Give any more
creepy.
examples?
I mean, he did Twin Peaks, the whole series. That's not really a scary anything.
I did put as an honorable mention. I did put Carrie. That was pretty scary.
Yeah.
Have you seen Carrie?
That's Stephen,
No,
that's
what are all
Stephen
these
King as
films?
well.
Yeah,
right?
that is Stephen King. I
She
think.
pours the blood all over the
Yeah,
people.
Carrie is like this. It's really creepy because it's about kind of like
teenage angst. And
but like she has this fanatic mother who's like really Catholic. So there are all these like Catholic elements in there that in the movie they're made really creepy, and then like everyone teases her and like she's like an outcast in high school and she's like really weird, and then they're like in their prom and as a prank they choose her to be like the prom queen, and then when she comes up on stage they like pour pig's blood all over her.
Nice.
And then that's like the last straw. And apparently she just gets like these weird mental powers and it just like starts creating havoc on the entire party and like people start dying. It's really cool.
That sounds awesome.
It is awesome.
That's scary. That's like very liberating. You know?
It is.
I
Because
always wished I could do that in high school.
throughout the movie you're just like feeling sorry for this girl and you're like, oh God, why are they being so mean to her? And then when she like gets these powers and starts like kicking the crap out of everyone, you're like, yes, revenge. Really, that's like what people want to see, I think.
Totally.
All right, and probably the worst movie of all time, which is like scary movie, is probably Friday the 13th.
Yeah. Oh, that just annoys me with
Jason?
Jason.
Oh, okay.
No.
Is that with Jamie Lee Curtis?
No, that was Halloween.
Oh, that annoys me, that film.
Yeah, that was also bad.
Yeah, I'm not a big Jamie Lee Curtis fan.
No.
All right, so those are the top 10 choices. There are a couple of honorable mentions there. So if you haven't seen them, take advantage of the fact that it's Halloween.
Boo.
Go and watch a movie, a scary movie, and get scared. I don't know why people don't like to get scared.
They do. That's why we have things like scary movies.
No, but like for example, I couldn't do this show with Liliana because she's completely afraid of scary movies because
she hasn't seen any of them.
No, she
can't even talk about them.
She can't talk about them. She can't watch a scary movie because then she would have nightmares and she can't sleep for a week. Seriously.
Yeah, I've known people with similar afflictions.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's like their memories are just
too vivid.
Too vivid. Yeah. Like you can just always recall those weird things, those bad images. Just can't let it go.
All right, guys, that's all for today. We'll see you guys next time, and be sure to watch some of these scary flicks. And until next time, bye.
Bye.
Happy Halloween.
Cut! That's a wrap!
Quiet on the set!
Quiet, please. First positions, please. Rolling action.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Director's Cut. I am joined here with Liliana.
Hi.
And Catherine.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk about the series, but it's not a movie, but because of popular demand by some users, we're going to talk about Friends.
I'll be there for you. I love it.
All right. So Friends is an American television series that went on for 10 seasons.
It's a sitcom.
It's a sitcom. What is a sitcom? Situational comedy?
Situational comedy. So they're funny. And they're usually half an hour to an hour long. We're usually half an hour long. And
20 minutes.
There's no real story. There's just funny moments.
Have you noticed that it's only 20 minutes long?
Yeah.
Because of commercials?
I know.
And then hour-long shows are only 40 minutes long.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. So we're actually exposed to 20 minutes of commercial when we're watching it, like on TV.
That's why I don't watch on TV.
That's why don't you love Tuyo? You just fast forward it?
No, that's why I just buy the DVDs.
DVDs on
Netflix.
Or Netflix.
Or Netflix.
All right. So Friends, the characters on this series are...
Ross, Rachel, Phoebe, Joey, and Chandler.
Chandler. All right. And, well, I guess the most famous among the people on Friends is Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
The hair.
The hair. She's the one that made it all popular, right?
She did the long hair with the bangs, but like the swooshing. Yeah.
The swooshing thing.
Yeah. And also getting married to Brad Pitt. That helped her.
Yeah, that did help her.
And then it hurt her.
Yes, it
Well,
did.
no, that made her even more popular because when he left her, there was like, oh,
Now
she's such a nice girl.
Oh, now she's the sad single 40-year-old.
She is sad. I'm sorry, but
She's
she
very
is.
sad.
She's dating all these losers. What's wrong with her?
Who is she dating?
She was dating John Mayer.
John Mayer, who's so gross.
Yeah. Big head.
He's in a
Womanizer.
band. That's what makes him cool.
He is a band. He's his own solo act, but yeah.
Okay. Anyway, back to Friends.
All right, so what's cool about Friends? What do you love? Because you love the show, right, Liliana?
I love it.
So what's cool about it?
I just, you know what?
Why does everyone love Friends?
Can I give you I want a shout out here?
Okay.
The producers of Friends, the creators of Friends, Kaufman's, they both went to my university, Brandeis University.
No way.
That's where they met, I think. And they based it, the cafe, off of the cafe that I used to work at my university, Chums.
No way.
Really?
So shout out to Chums. That's where they got the inspiration.
Wow.
Did you have like the big orange couch?
Yep.
Really?
That's so
And the
cool.
big curved window and
Oh, wow.
The bar
Didn't
in
know
back.
that. Look at that.
Yeah.
We have a what's it called, celebrity here, like Catherine knows the
I went
people.
to a big university with
and
a
worked at
famous
the cafe. All right. So why do you like Friends?
I think I really like it because it's just life around friends, you know, and the typical things that everybody goes through.
But that's what many people argue is like, are they really typical things that people go through, and do they really deal with them in like a real life way? Because like, do you really get along with like 5 people in that way and do everything together and never fight and all this stuff?
I think so.
It is kind of...
People definitely have core groups.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think especially as a working adult, you don't really end up making tons of new friends all the time.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people end up having that core group that they've known for a long time. And this is especially true. I don't know if it's true in big urban areas, even though Friends takes place in New York City. But definitely where I grew up, it's smaller. It's outside of the big city. People are still friends with the people that they knew when they were younger. So you grow up together, you're tight, you always hang out, you always like are living in each other's houses. It makes sense.
Yeah, I think in my case, for example, that I went to college in different places, we all came from different places. So basically your friends become your family. You know, we lived all like in this apartment complex and we had like 2 apartments. And seriously, like friends, we'll go up and down like, hey, where's my things? And borrow things. And there was one that it was like, we had a friend that it was like Monica. She loved to cook. So everybody will go to her house, eat, because she always had food and stuff like that. Yeah, so I think it depends from where you are, but I think I like it. It's very, yeah.
So I think the other outstanding thing about the show is how great chemistry the actors had with each other, right? Because they made it look so natural and funny and at the same time sweet at times and everything.
I think what I liked is the humor. It was never vulgar.
Right.
They never used like bad words. You can do funny, you know, without having to be like so like ordinary, you know, like
Yeah, and you had stereotypical, you had like caricatures. So you had the nerdy one, Ross, who was an anthropologist.
Right.
And you had Joey, who was the goofball idiot, who was like a part-time actor or whatever. And then you had Phoebe, the weird artistic one, who's eccentric and who plays guitar. And Monica, who's the neat freak. And you just have all these kind of caricatures who, you know, interact with each other all the time, and that's we all know someone who has some of those traits, and so that's why it's funny because you can relate to it, right? Everyone knows a neat freak, everyone knows a goofball idiot.
Right.
So
definitely.
So what would you say is like your favorite Friends moment or your favorite episode?
Wow, that's a really good question.
I liked the episode where Joey had the like the his and hers chairs, like the leather chairs that went back, and like he would never leave the house.
When they had like free porn.
Oh, on the TV, and they wouldn't leave the house at all.
Yeah, they wouldn't leave the house. That was funny. I have several. I think one of them is when Rachel finds out that she's pregnant.
Oh, that's like a very sweet moment, right?
Yeah,
Made you cry.
Yeah, it's really cool. But I like it because of all this. They didn't know who the dad was, and it was all the deal with the shirt.
Oh, with the shirt, right?
And then he just grabs it, and there's Bud like, "Oh no!"
And I think that's where the season ends, right?
No.
No, it wasn't.
No.
Oh, another good one is the Pottery Barn one, where Phoebe, where Phoebe gets something at Pottery Barn, right? And like it's just really funny.
Rachel
gets it at Pottery Barn, and Phoebe gets really upset, and it's just really funny because in America, Pottery Barn is this like ubiquitous store. I mean, it's everywhere, and everyone always gets stuff from Pottery Barn. So you go to someone's house, and they have the same things you have, and so it was playing off of that thing where like everyone goes to the same store, like IKEA. You know, everyone has the same IKEA stuff. So
That's
it was really funny.
Yeah, that was a funny one. That's true.
All right, so it went on for 10 seasons. Have you seen like all episodes, season
Yes.
1 through 10?
Yes.
I've seen
Really?
about 15 episodes.
15.
What?
Really?
Are you serious? I've seen it from seriously 1 to 10, and I've seen some of the episodes like 20 times. Like
Really? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Because sometimes you see them on TV. I did do like a marathon once, like on I can't remember what channel it was. They were playing Friends all day long, so I didn't leave the room and watched it all day.
I've seen the bloopers reel.
The bloopers reel is actually really
so
funny.
funny.
It is pretty
really
funny.
good.
Yeah, if you have a chance to get the DVDs, it's pretty funny. So would you say this depicts like a normal or, you know, average American life? Like in New York, for example, or anywhere?
No.
No? Why not?
People in New York don't have apartments that are that big. I'm sorry.
That's true. Let's start with
People
that.
in New York live in really small apartments, A. And B, I think that groups tend to drift apart. People get married and you get, you know, more kind of insular. It's not like you have this big friend group even when you're late 30s, early, 40s or whatever.
Well, in the end, that's how the show ended, right? They got
Yeah.
married, and so they were going to move to the suburbs.
Exactly.
So everyone kind of just like drifted away. Rachel, I think, went to France or something like that.
No.
No, she didn't end up
was
going?
gonna go, but then she ends up with Ross.
Staying with
And then Monica and Chandler, they buy a house in the suburbs. And then Phoebe and Mike, they get married.
Oh,
and
that's
then
right, Mike.
Joey moves to LA.
And then that's where you get the Joey show
Joey
or
show.
something.
Yes.
It lasted
Joey
like
show.
a season. I think it didn't go very well.
Yeah.
All right. So out of all these characters, which one do you think you are? Do you think you are Rachel, Phoebe, Monica?
Who do you think I am?
Yeah, you're definitely Monica. Diana's like very, very neat freak
Oh, yeah.
and
A lot
very
of-
bossy.
Yeah, a lot of people have told me that.
All right. What about you, Catherine?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't think one of them fits.
Or do you have the majority of the traits of maybe?
I think she's between Monica and Phoebe.
Uh-oh.
That's a weird mix.
I know it's weird, but it's true. But is that there's none in the in the gang? Oh, I know. She's kind of like Ross because you're very nerdy. It's true.
It is
and
true.
intelligent, and loves the documentaries and all that. So I think you would be between Ross and Rachel, maybe.
So I'm Ross and Rachel, the love child.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, you're the little baby Emma. That's who you are. You're
You know
Emma.
the baby's name?
Yes, I know.
Yeah, I can't remember. I haven't seen like an episode in forever, but I really, really did like the show, and I thought it was very funny at times.
Yeah.
It was a very good show. All right, so all in all, you both like the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
And who was your favorite celebrity?
The guest?
Yeah, guest.
Probably Bruce Willis.
Oh yeah, he was hilarious.
Bruce
man.
Willis was a guest star once. He was like, he was He was
he
Rachel's
date-
mom, right?
No.
Rachel's dad. Right?
No.
Didn't he date one
It
of
was
them?
yeah, it was
He dated Phoebe or
Rachel's
Rachel?
Rachel. He was dating Rachel, and the daughter, Ross was dating the daughter.
Who was a student at the university.
Yeah. So they end up in the same cabin on a weekend.
I don't know who else made a guest appearance on there.
Ah, so many.
Really?
Julia Roberts. She's hilarious, Julia Roberts.
I didn't see that one.
That she makes Chandler undress in the toilet and then takes away the... You don't remember that? No?
I don't remember that
Susan
one.
Sarandon.
Really?
Brad Pitt. Yeah.
Brad Pitt was on there too?
Yeah, he hated Rachel, and he was like a
Oh, but
old
they were
friend
married, so it was like funny.
of Monica. Yeah, and they started this club of the I Hate Rachel club.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they said that she was like a hermaphrodite chick from Rhode Island.
Wow. So they ended up like paying each actor $1 million per episode, right?
Which
Yes.
is ridiculous.
It's like $7 million
Ridiculous.
Imagine.
Well, there's how many episodes a season?
per
There's
season. It's like 24 episodes.
24 episodes.
$24 million per person. That's 5 people. That's $120 million.
But imagine the money.
per season.
They make like 20 times that. Imagine they have this show syndicated, and it's shown in every country, in every
Yeah, it's in
language
every language.
in the world. Like, it's ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen it in Japanese, in French, in English, in everything.
So it's actually a pretty good show to learn English, right? Because
I
it's
think so. They speak very clearly.
Clearly.
And that's part of the humor. Like, hey, Joey. I mean, it's very. I mean, it's they caricature the fact that he's from Jersey, right?
Right.
But like, it's also very clear and easy to understand.
but also the way that they talk is pretty natural. It's not too
it's
scripted,
exaggerated.
right?
No,
It is-
yeah, it's natural. It's conversational English.
Conversational,
It's
yeah.
It's not academic at all.
Exactly.
Right. So it is. They do use a lot of slang on there and stuff. So it's actually a really good resource if you get a chance to buy the DVDs. You know, you can watch it with some subtitles in English, and it's actually really good practice.
Yes, definitely.
All right. So all in all, good. Friends, we recommend it. 10 seasons. Go buy like just one season. Don't buy like the 10 DVDs all at once. And if you have any questions or comments, please come to the website, englishpod.com, and we'll see you there.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cut! That's a wrap! Quiet on the set! Quiet, please! First positions, please! Rolling action!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Director's Cut. My name is Marco, and I'm joined here with Bill. Hello. Bill Wynn.
I wouldn't rather
You don't want me to
reveal
say,
that information.
You don't want me to say your last
No,
name?
it's okay. I'm just kidding.
All right, and also with us is a new member to the English Pod team, Jay.
Hello.
And Jay is working with us now, and she's originally from Canada. Whereabouts from Canada are you from?
From the East Coast.
The East Coast, all right?
Canada.
East Side.
Hey.
All right, and on this edition of Director's Cut, we're going to talk about the movie Watchmen.
Yes.
Have you seen that movie?
I have. Well, I have seen it.
Did you like it?
I really did like it.
Why?
Geez, that's a pretty open-ended question for the beginning of a show. I can't even really remember what happened. I liked it because the alternate reality aspect of it.
Uh-huh.
You know, I think it had more of a science fiction kind of feel to it than most comic book movies. I know that I haven't read the comic book first, and to let everybody know.
Right.
But I know the comic book is like a cult favorite.
All right, so you have this movie that's set in the United States, and you have this league of superheroes that was formed a while back, like in the 50s, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
And
right. Well, it's like an alternate. It's like an alternate universe.
reality.
Yeah.
Because in this reality that Watchmen is set in, like Nixon continued on for a second term in as president.
Right.
They lost the Vietnam War, or they won. I don't know what happened.
They did win because Mr. God, see, I can't remember. Sorry, I can't even remember the names.
Who? Oh, Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan, right? Yeah, Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan.
Because he joined the war.
Exactly.
And so they won.
Right.
They won in Vietnam, and it ushered in like a lot of popularity for Nixon. The story is the good part about them. It's one of the the really strong points about the movie because behind the story there's a whole comic book series.
Right. It's based on a comic book. All right, Jay, you've also seen the movie, right?
I have.
Did you enjoy it?
I did.
Did you understand it? Did you see the comic beforehand, or was it the first time you were exposed to it?
Yeah, it was the first time I was exposed to it. I didn't know that it was a comic beforehand.
Until now?
And well, I saw it the first time and I was like, I have no idea what just happened. And so I watched it a second time and understood it quite a bit better.
You watched it twice.
I did.
Yeah, I've heard that you should watch that movie twice.
Yeah.
To kind of understand it better.
I watched the second half of it twice.
All right, so basically you have this group of superheroes that were formed a while back, and then as they get older, they kind of just become regular civilians because people start kind of complaining about the superheroes helping out society and saying that they should just let the police do the work because I think they were like causing more harm than good, right?
Well, yeah, that's one of the really interesting parts of the story is that it's kind of one of the only comic books that portrays heroes in a real human kind of light. Like all of the heroes in the Watchmen series have like they're either psychotic like Rorschach. I mean his name even is Rorschach. I mean, so it has a lot of mental institution connotations. Or they just have a lot of flaws.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
because they're people in the end. They're not really like aliens,
right. And even the very
human beings.
Right, and then even in the very end, there's it deals a lot with human philosophy and giving up, and trading off a lot of people's lives for supposed benefit. I mean, it's not a perfect universe, which is nice to see in a movie because it's actually maybe closer to reality than others.
And the movie did well. What was your favorite character?
Man, I mean, I think I like Joker a lot.
Joker?
Wait, is his name Joker? Even the comedian.
Oh, the comedian.
Yeah.
The comedian.
I feel like I'm just doing such an injustice to this movie.
You are,
because I watched it and then there's a huge cult following. I've never even read the comic book, but yeah, Joker is
the comedian.
The comedian is good.
All right. What about you, Jade? Did you have like a favorite superhero of that movie?
Yeah, well, my favorite was I'm definitely not saying his name right, but Rorschach?
Rorschach.
Rorschach.
Isn't it Rorschach?
Rorschach.
It's like the Rorschach test.
Rorschach or Rorschach?
Rorschach, I don't know, but it's based on that test, isn't it?
Right, because his
mask keeps on changing, like it's the ink blot test.
Yeah, I thought he was kind of disfigured or something under it. So when they took off his mask, I was like, oh, he's just a normal guy.
It's just like a little skinny Irish guy.
Yeah, he was. Definitely, I think my favorite was Dr. Manhattan because he was like the most almighty powerful.
So obvious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was cool because the guy was not only freakishly strong and like amazing, but he was also very, very intelligent.
Right.
So, and he was doing a lot of experiments and a lot of things for humans. But of course, the interesting part was that he was like a physicist, right? And as in many cases throughout history, he was being used by the U.S. government to build like weapons and prototypes of things.
Sure,
to help the defense.
Yeah, the military-industrial complex at work.
Yeah, exactly. So it was an interesting movie.
I guess the military-industrial, now educational complex.
Yeah. In the movie also, the ending was different from the comic book ending.
Really?
From what I understand.
Really?
Oh, really?
So yeah, I guess a lot of the people who were following the movie, or like the cult of the people that actually followed the comic book, weren't really pleased with the ending, from what I understand. Yeah. What was the guy's name? The millionaire guy. The pretty boy.
I can't remember his name.
Do you remember his name?
Oh, no.
You don't remember his name?
It's like Braden something. I don't know. They call him by his full name in the movie.
Oh, you know what I kind of didn't like was
he doesn't have like a superhero.
Was the owl guy, Night Owl?
Yeah.
I didn't really like him.
Why not? He's such a nice guy.
He is a nice guy, but it was like a copy of Batman.
Oh, you mean his costume
and his airplane and everything.
Yeah.
It was kind of lame, I think.
Right. I mean, he's kind of like the ineffectual. I mean, maybe that's part of his character, because that guy was kind of vapid, you know. I mean, it was like you expect most super, like all of them have flaws. So maybe his flaw is that he's just like a boring guy.
But he was the one that started kind of won over the really hot superhero girl in that movie.
Yeah.
What was her name?
Sometimes girls go for those types of guys.
Is that your case, Bill?
Of course.
Yeah. All right, so
Vapid, boring, ineffectual.
that's you.
Yep.
All right, so overall, you would recommend the movie? You would recommend somebody to watch it?
I would, and I would recommend. I would recommend that you, like Jay said earlier. Maybe she didn't know. I didn't know anything about it either beforehand. But it's a movie that maybe you should read up about a little bit. Maybe if you're into comics, you should maybe read the comic first and then watch the movie, or the other way around. But I think it's definitely worth a watch because it's a good story, and I think it's important.
All right. What about you, Jay? Would you recommend it? Did you watch it with friends, by yourself?
The first time I watched it with friends, and then the second time around I watched it by myself. But yeah, it definitely makes you think.
All right, cool. All right, very good. The next show that we're going to have is about a freaky, crazy, scary movie that I watched recently, Paranormal Activity.
Oh, I heard about that.
So be sure to get prepared for that one because we're talking about that one next week. It's very scary.
You can't get enough of Halloween, man.
I can. Especially with this movie. This movie was really cool. It's also independent, and it's an independent film, so it makes it a little bit more interesting as well. All right, so if you have any questions, any doubts, you can go on the website. Let's listen before we say goodbye to a small clip from the movie Watchmen.
To the intrinsic field center, I find my watch.
All right, we're back. So that was a small clip with Dr. Manhattan. His voice is really awesome.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Marco. That guy's pretty awesome.
Do you know what the symbol on his chest represents?
No.
It's a hydrogen atom.
Oh. Yes, he is the power. He's the atomic power man.
He's the atomic power man. Kind of.
He's like a godlike figure. It's pretty...
He is. He can change forms. He can transport himself. He can sleep on Mars and be
all right. And
then
what's his fault then? I mean, I guess we're talking about all the different faults.
That he's lost the sensitivity of the human touch.
Ah, right.
He's insensitive.
Right.
He's become very cold.
Yeah, he's cold to humanity.
Yeah. Because he's almost not human anymore.
I'm going to be that guy for next Halloween.
All right, guys. So that's all the time we have for today. Be sure to come to the website, englishpod.com, and we'll see you guys there.
Bye.
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 Cut! That's a wrap! Quiet on the set! Quiet, please! First positions, please! Rolling action!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Director's Cut. I am joined here with Bill.
Hello, everybody.
And today we have with us lovely Scarlett.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about a great film that was released in 2007, if I'm not mistaken, starring Will Smith, and it's called I Am Legend.
Yes. That is the name of the movie.
Great. Thanks for the great insight, Bill. Thanks for the approval. All right, so I Am Legend. It was a pretty good film. Well, it wasn't amazing according to a lot of people.
Are you speaking of its critical reception then?
Well, it was one of the highest grossing films of all time. It was like in 48th place.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Amazing, right?
Doesn't seem like that.
Yeah, I would imagine that, but it's I do remember when it came out there was a fair amount of buzz.
Yeah, there were a lot of people that were interested in the film.
A lot of people were interested in it.
Well, it's based on a sci-fi novel from like the 50s, right? So it's not like completely new.
As are many science fiction movies are
based
on novels from the 50s.
All right, so basically, what's the synopsis of the movie? It starts off with the movie is set in the United States, right? In New York.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so the synopsis of the film is the following. It's set in the United States, primarily in New York, and some woman claims to have adapted a virus, right? Which is the measles.
Oh, I thought it was for cancer.
Well,
that she uses
the measles
virus to vaccinate against cancer.
So basically, it's an engineered virus. They took the measles virus and they transformed it to actually help the body instead of attack it. And so what this this new measles virus called, I think it was called the Kipper or the something.
You know, quite a bit. The backstory isn't even really explained that well.
Yeah,
in
it's
the
in the
movie.
news, like in the background. Isn't
Yeah.
With, like Emma Thompson or something.
Yeah.
Right, it's Emma Thompson. Well, anyways, the virus is injected into 10,009 people, and the success rate is 100%. So all of these patients
during the clinical trial,
right,
Yeah.
that have cancer, all of them get cured. So it's like it's the cure for cancer. So everyone was like, "Wow, this is amazing."
big
This-
deal.
So everybody gets vaccinated with it, basically.
Well, I guess so.
Yeah,
It
they
didn't
don't
even
really explain
no.
it that much.
no,
like,
and that's not the point of the movie. I feel like.
Well, right.
I mean,
but what
but you
happens
still
later?
got to know why everyone's gone from the
Right.
world. You can't just.
well, this is a good point. Okay, so when you first start watching the movie, the most striking thing, of course, maybe I'm jumping a little bit ahead in your synopsis, is that there's nobody in New York.
Right.
Yeah.
So after 3 years, like New York is empty.
Yeah,
and you're like,
it's
And everything's
only,
still the same
and it's
as it
only the
was.
star Will Smith is there, right? The movie opens though in for the first like half of the movie. You don't really know exactly what's going on. But this is kind of what I'm thinking is, you know, a lot of movies are built around. Well, I guess this is actually a book, but I can see why they had this concept is really appealing for a filmmaker. And maybe that the backstory is just, it's kind of supplementary to this idea that, oh, why don't we have Will Smith like fighting some like weird like, zombie people
You think?
in an abandoned New York, and then they build a story around that. Don't you think? A lot of movies seem
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
as you say, Will Smith is the main character, and he's immune to the virus, right? So he's like one of the only people that's left alive in New York because the virus mutates and it becomes airborne. That's why like millions and billions of people die.
He has immunity to it.
Right,
He has
so-
a natural immunity to it.
And the dog as well.
Well, it seems like it doesn't affect animals, but during the film, apparently you find out that Will Smith was in the military and he was working with the virus to try and find a cure for it, right?
Okay.
Right.
And
So he's high up in the military.
right.
So he knows what to do as well.
But he's like
He's
a doctor.
yeah. But he's
Good
he's
job
like
he
a,
was immune, really.
He's like so it works out really well that
Convenient.
he's like the hero of the movie. 'Cause
Yeah,
not only he's got
exactly.
like arms training, military strategic training, and he's a doctor so he can work on the
On the
virus.
immune.
And he's immune to the virus.
And he's stunningly handsome.
Yeah, that
Based on
too.
myself.
All right, so throughout the movie, he continues to do experiments on rats and other animals to try and find a cure for the virus because there is a small amount of people throughout the world that didn't completely die off but became mutated into
Right,
these
so
like weird
he's-
creatures.
Right, yeah.
So if he finds a cure and he inserts it into these, weird creatures, they become human again? Or
Well, that's the end of the movie. He kind of deals with that. Remember, by the end of the movie, he kind of, I don't want to give it away, but he figures it out. I guess that is giving it away. Yeah,
Oh.
he figures it out by the end. It's
He
that's not
kind
giving
of,
it
yeah.
away, though. That's
It's-
another
yeah.
part.
Well, you have to see what
Yeah.
happens.
But yeah, but that's basically what it is. He's using his own immunity to experiment on the people that are infected, and he
Right.
catches the infect. He actually goes out and he catches them. Remember?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He catches them and he brings them back to his lab and he experiments.
So actually what happens is the people that don't die and become infected, they become very sensitive towards the sunlight, right? So they can only come out
and
at
they
night.
hide out in
Right.
dark
And they
places.
become bald and like very
Really
aggressive.
ugly looking.
Yeah,
to
super
be honest.
duper aggressive. But they do have some sort of intelligence. He finds.
Yeah, some sort of
There's
intelligence.
like a leader of them, and
yeah, yeah.
and there's some, I don't know. It's a really shady backstory. I mean, I think I kind of want to go back to the fact that it's just awesome that he's like in New York City and nobody else
himself.
is in New York City, and he's like,
And he's
He's
trying
got
to get
guns.
radio
He's got-
signals with everyone and trying to communicate.
yeah, no, that's stupid. No, this is,
That's not stupid.
no, that's not the cool part. The cool part is
Oh,
that he's
right.
hunting deer in the streets
With guns.
of
New York.
Real man stuff.
Well, it is actually interesting.
communicating with others. That's not such a big deal.
That's a sensible thing to do. That's what you start off doing.
But like, if you think about it, like with this whole swine flu scare and everything, it's like reality is not so far away from sci-fi. I mean, obviously, swine flu isn't transforming people into like
ugly mutant.
ugly mutants sensitive to sunlight creatures, but
Just yet, anyway.
but you know, like
See after this, please.
like biological warfare, it's still a possibility, right? Or even mutations of existing viruses.
Yeah.
It is kind of pessimistic,
Sure,
but
I mean,
it's a reality,
Possible.
right?
Well, you know, I,
mean, if
don't
you-
know.
I'm
I mean,
hoping not,
there's
but-
if you're talking about epidemic, yes, sure, a lot of people could get sick and die.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they'd ever turn into ultra violent.
Populations could be wiped out,
Albinos.
but not turned into mutants.
There's some pretty terrible stuff out there, though. We have to admit.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I've seen some people that have some sort of virus, and their hands and feet kind of become. They look like kind of like tree. There's a guy. Have you seen him? You can look on the internet. You could like the tree man.
He's Indonesian.
Yeah, he's Indonesian.
I saw a guy when I was in Indonesia. I saw a guy
his
that had
skin
a
looks
similar-
like tree bark, and his hands
It's just
and limbs.
lots of growths and lesions.
Was he born like that, or was it?
It's something that's really easily treatable, but I mean, it afflicts people that are super.
Or what about something like elephantitis?
Yeah.
That's not treatable. And that's
But
pretty
that's
scary.
something you're born with, isn't it?
No, you can get
It's not a virus.
you can get bitten by a mosquito, and bam, you can get elephantitis, and you can't cure it. Seriously.
Is it a real risk though? I mean,
a lot of people suffer from it.
I think it's genetic, man.
I think it's hereditary. And
No, I saw it on Discovery Channel about it. There's a virus that if a fly bites you, it carries this and it starts growing inside you, and you just get like, it's not elephantitis. It's something similar where your limbs inflate.
and they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, they can't do anything about it.
Bizarre.
But it's obviously not a big risk.
Well, anyways, the movie was
no
great.
wipe out
though.
population.
The movie was great.
Yeah, I
Going back to the movie.
like Will Smith, and he had a dog along with him.
A German Shepherd.
I'm a big dog fan. As
Really?
Scarlett,
Are you?
Scarlett could
I would
attest
never,
to that.
never have known
She
that.
sits across from me, and I'm always talking about my dog.
Yeah, I get a
I'm
daily
gonna-
update about his
I'm gonna
dog's
give
sleeping
it-
patterns.
I'm going to give a shout out to my dog right now. What's up, Muffin?
He's probably sleeping, Bill.
I'll play it for him.
A flavor. You can go to sleep while he listens to the podcast. All right, so before we go, why don't we give you the first segment of the movie so you actually hear the scientist who created the virus that was supposed to help people, and then we'll come back.
The world of medicine has seen its share of miracle cures, from the polio vaccine to heart transplants, but all past achievements may pale in comparison to the work of Dr. Alice Crippen. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Not at all.
So, Dr. Crippen, give it to me in a nutshell.
Well, the premise is quite simple. Take something designed by nature and reprogram it to make it work for the body rather than against it.
You're talking about a virus?
Indeed, yes. In this case, the measles virus, which has been engineered at a genetic level to be helpful rather than harmful. I find the best way to describe it is if you can imagine your body as a highway and you picture the virus as a very fast car being driven by a very bad man, imagine the damage that car could cause. But then if you replace that man with a cop, the picture changes, and that's essentially what we've done.
And how many people have you treated so far?
Well, we've had 10,009 clinical trials in humans so far.
And how many are cancer-free?
10,009.
So you have actually cured cancer?
Yes. Yes, we have.
All right, we're back. So that's basically how the story starts, right? Now you see all the details about how many people were treated and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's an alluring. It's almost like a warning, that we shouldn't try to get cancer. No,
yes, with nature, don't do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think maybe, there are some things that should be just left a mystery. All right, so there's actually a new movie coming out soon. It's called 2012. It's about the end of the world. It's another catastrophe movie.
That's horrible.
It's about the end of the world. Just the world just ends.
Well,
that's just so depressing. Why would
it's based on the Mayan calendar.
Mayan calendar, yeah.
That says that it stops in 2012.
Yeah.
So many people believe that in 2012 there will be a worldwide catastrophe that maybe the equator is going to invert, so the equator is not going to be the equator anymore. It's going to
magnetic polar inversion. I've heard about that.
The world is going to spin on its side or whatever, and everything's going to be chaos.
Yeah,
tsunamis, earthquakes.
I'm actually
eruptions.
I'm interested in these types of things.
Really?
Yeah, there's a phenomenon called a gamma ray burster, So it's I think it's a supernova black hole or something like that.
Wow.
And so it shoots out gamma rays, and they can reach all the way across the galaxy, and then it's such intense radiation they can wipe out life on a whole side of a planet. And you never know when it's going to happen. And there's one pointing towards Earth, so they don't know when it's going to start going. It could be now, it could be a million years from now.
Great. This is fantastic. Like, just what I wanted to hear.
It's great, energetic, positive stuff here at English.
Yeah, guys. I'm sure everyone's really happy
All right,
to be listening
so
to this.
once that movie's out, we'll be talking about that one and any other catastrophe movies like Armageddon and,
Or Titanic.
Yeah. All right, guys, so if you have any questions or comments, you can come to the website at englishpod.com. And if you have any suggestions or you want to contact us directly, please send an email to englishpod@praxislanguage.com. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
That's a wrap. Quiet on the set. Quiet, please. First positions, please. Rolling action.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Director's Cut. My name is Marco, and I'm joined here with Catherine.
Hey, everyone.
Bill.
Hello.
And Scarlett.
Hello.
We have a full house today because we're going to talk about this great movie that, well, Bill and Catherine are very big fans of, Star Trek.
Yeah.
Well, the new Star Trek, there are actually like 9 movies.
There
called
are?
Star
9
Trek.
movies?
Wow.
This is the definitive Star Trek now. I guess they've kind of rebranded
Is
it
it
that
the
way.
definitive?
No,
I thought the Wrath
it's not.
of Khan was
We
the
can talk about
definitive.
that. I agree with you there.
This is one that people that aren't fans of Star Trek
This
will
is
watch.
the new one, the young generation.
The
so
cool
it's
This is, yeah.
it's like the prequel. It's
Yeah.
like
Exactly, because...
But it's done in a good way. It's done in a really good way. It's
yeah.
not like Transformers or something like that.
What?
They're like
What's wrong with Transformers? Transformers is good.
wait, we're not talking about Transformers
Sorry,
right now.
All right, so
It's a rebranding.
Well, that's the
it
thing.
is, and it's all new actors, new directors. I mean, it's very fresh.
And everyone that is not a Star Trek fan seemed to like it and to understand it. And in general, the consensus was that it was a good film. And everyone was kind of hesitant because, like, Star Trek, you always, people don't really
Say it.
follow it.
Say
And it's kind of nerdy. It is kind
Well,
of nerdy.
this is what we should
not the
say.
coolest.
There's a group of people that are hardcore fans of Star Trek.
What do you call them?
They're called Trekkies.
They have conferences and
Oh
they
my
dress
gosh.
up.
They're
And
very
Deanna
famous.
Troy often participates in conferences.
Wow.
Deanna Troy still participates in conferences.
So what do they conference about?
Characters,
plots, yeah, like technical specifications, things like this. They'll be like in episode 0145.
Have you guys been to a
we noticed you
conference?
realigned
No.
the dilithium crystal
Bet Bill
chamber
has.
in a way that's
Wow.
but this is inconsistent with later episodes when we did this. So
Yeah, like they map out the science of Star Trek and they talk about consistencies, inconsistencies.
yeah, that's
Wow.
There's like the guy who created the language Klingon was a linguist who actually took from different languages, and so now there's actually a grammar and a vocabulary for this language. I mean, it's real word.
Actually, I don't know what that's. I can't remember. I know one word of Klingon, but I forgot it.
All right, so there is a whole fan base and a culture behind Star Trek, but on this occasion we're going to talk briefly about the movie. So the modern version, as we said, it was great. A lot of people liked it, but why do you think that is? What do you mentioned the rebranding of Star Trek?
Chris Pine is a hottie.
Yeah, I was just going to say
Who's that?
too.
Is that
the main
Kirk?
guy?
Yummy. He's
That's
the
young
young
Kirk.
Captain Kirk.
I see.
Yeah.
And also the guy from Heroes.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know any of these new young guys.
In Heroes, he plays
Who's that? Spock?
Spock.
Oh.
On Heroes, he plays the guy that has mental powers.
I thought Spock was okay.
I'm not a huge fan of the new Spock.
Spock. I'm not a huge fan with any of it. Actually, I'm not
Uhura
even a
was
huge.
a little bit.
I'm not even a huge fan of the movie. I think this is what people
Really?
often say about Trek. This is what I heard when it first came out. There's a kind of a joke made about this new movie, and it's a nerd talking about Star Trek, and it's something like, "Oh, that movie, that new Star Trek movie, it's totally inconsistent. It's terrible. Blah blah blah." But yet he still goes and he sees it like 8 times in a row. And so it's that kind of feeling. Like it doesn't compare to the original ones, but it's cool that they redid it, I think. And it's cool to see new special effects and stuff, but it's not really true to the original spirit, I think.
Well, and I think you want to talk about rebranding. That's part of the rebranding process. What they did is they took really hot young actors who some of them are no name, some of them are kind of like B-list. They dressed them up in hot clothes and they threw in a ton of special effects.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a slammin' summer blockbuster like action movie. But the spirit, like Bill says, of the old Star Trek is that effects are bad. I mean, the settings are really kind of poor quality.
Right,
and
especially the originals.
the original series, like the first season, is rough for special effects because they have these these boulders in quotes that people get hit with, and they're obviously styrofoam, and there's paint like coming off.
Yeah.
But the brilliance is in the acting and like the overacting and the writing, and it's all very kind of cheap sci-fi.
Well, and the whole history
Well, I
and
guess-
the background, I think, is what makes it special.
Well, like for example, in my case, and I know that this is Scarlett's case as well, we've never really followed Star Trek. And when we saw this movie, it was a little bit refreshing because you don't have this entire culture that you have to understand in order to understand the movie.
You don't have to see the episode.
Exactly. So you come to the movie, you kind of find out a little bit about Star Trek, and it's fresh. So you actually understand it, and it's not like you walk out of the movie theater when
Confused.
the movie, making references to shows and previous episodes. You're like, what? You don't understand. What
I think that's what's upsetting to hardcore fans is that these people can just jump right in and be
Has
like,
it not
"Oh,
followed
this is
any
interesting."
story from the episodes, or
Well,
is
that's
it
what's-
like going back to the beginning of when the episode
Well,
started? or-
they
what's brilliant about it.
recreate it. They make a new. It's a whole.
just a new
story.
plot.
It's a whole new storyline because they introduced some pretty awesome. I think this time paradox thing where people are traveling back in time. So actually, it's completely different than how things turn out in the Star Trek universe. So they're creating a new thing. So they're leaving themselves open to create another movie.
Well, and I really appreciated that about this particular movie, because if they followed along the old plot line and they remade it, they would have ticked off everybody.
Yeah.
All the
That's
fans,
true.
the old acting, they would have made everyone really angry. So what they did, which was really smart, is they created a super, super hard to wrap your head around, crazy, like string theory approach to like time and replotted the whole series.
Yeah.
And that way you can make the other, the Trekkies happy by not copying the old series.
And it's
And
it's
you can
pretty
make your own story.
creative too. So I think people can.
Yeah, the
enjoy
whole
that.
time paradox thing, like you said, was pretty creative. And,
Yeah.
and well, I guess it also uses more modern theories about like space, time, and the universe, right? So that's kind of
Exactly. And I did spend like 4 days mapping it out for Amory over at French Pod, who was very confused about how two paths of time could have met.
This is not even get started.
That's basic Star Trek stuff. They've already gone back in time. They went back in time in Star Trek 4.
Yeah.
Wow, you really
Of
did.
course.
All right, so why don't you guys set up with the clip that we're going to listen to now?
This session has been called to resolve a troubling matter. James T. Kirk, step forward. Cadet Kirk, evidence has been submitted to this council suggesting that you violated the ethical code of conduct pursuant to Regulation 17.43 of the Starfleet Code. Is there anything you care to say before we begin, sir?
Yes, I believe I have the right to face my accuser directly.
Step forward, please. This is Commander Spock. He is one of our most distinguished graduates. He's programmed the Kobayashi Maru exam for the last 4 years. Commander.
Cadet Kirk, you somehow managed to install and activate a subroutine in the programming code, thereby changing the conditions of the test.
Your point being?
In academic vernacular, you cheated.
Let me ask you something I think we all know the answer to. The test itself is a cheat, isn't it? I mean, you programmed it to be unwinnable.
Your argument precludes the possibility of a no-win scenario.
I don't believe in no-win scenarios.
Then not only did you violate the rules, you also failed to understand the principal lesson.
Please, enlighten me.
You of all people should know, Cadet Kirk. A captain cannot cheat death.
I of all people.
Your father, Lieutenant George Kirk, assumed command of his vessel before being killed in action, did he not?
I don't think you like the fact that I beat your test.
Furthermore, you have failed to divine the purpose of the test.
Enlighten me again.
The purpose is to experience fear. Fear in the face of certain death. To accept that fear and maintain control of oneself and one's crew. This is a quality expected in every Starfleet captain.
Well, we've got a bunch of these young, strapping
Cadets, right?
cadets who are in training to be in the military, essentially.
The Starfleet Academy, yeah.
The Starfleet Academy.
Look at you, Bill. You're like,
what? That's what it is. That's what they are.
And
they're taking a test.
And they've take
tests.
They've taken a test. This is the hardest test that's offered at the Starfleet Academy. It's kind of like for graduating. You have to pass this.
The Kobayashi Maru.
And there's some concern that the main character, Kirk, he's not a captain yet, has in some way cheated or kind of stretched the rules. And so we're hearing his trial now at school, and they're going to try and figure out what was going on and whether or not it was legal.
All right, so let's listen. All right, we're back. So it seemed like he didn't really cheat, but he just figured out a way to bend the rules of the game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like found a
but
loophole.
It
But at
goes
the same
with
time,
his personality. He's kind of snarky about it. And
Right, right. But at the same time, he claims that the game is also unfair because it's also like bending the rules of reality in a way.
Well, he's saying you're doomed to failure.
Right.
Right, and then that's
he
not
just
fair.
he just doesn't believe in it. So he's got a really strong streak of individualism,
Rebellion.
which they put in good stark contrast to Spock in this.
Right, so Spock
instance.
was there, and he claims that, well, he's really upset because obviously he's pretty arrogant of his intelligence, right? He's a really intelligent being.
Yeah, well, he comes from a place that is not Earth. And because of this, his people are completely logical. They hide all of their emotions. They don't react.
Oh, did they I thought they just didn't
weakness.
have any.
They have
emotions.
them, and actually
they
it comes out in Star Trek, the original series, and Star Trek: The Next Generation. There's some really weird sex stuff.
Whoa, this is more interesting than I thought.
Now we know why Chucky's like this.
Yeah.
But it's not that they don't have these emotions. It's that they kind of there's a pyramid, and they don't believe. I mean, they're very base, and they don't believe that these should be indulged. Okay. And so you hide them. You focus on. Yeah, it's not to be indulged, and so they, above all else, love logic, and that's why this character is sometimes perceived as very cold and overly rational. In stark contrast to the main character Kirk, who is completely
emotional,
ego. He's emotional, impulsive.
He's a cowboy.
And then the third character, Bones, is super ego, right? So he's the one. Or actually, no, I messed it up. So we've got Spock, who's ego. We've got Kirk, who's like id. He's all impulse. And we've got Bones, who's the doctor, who's the third friend, who's a little bit older, who is super ego. He's the kind of balancing act between the two.
But he's also like ultra smart, right? Because he's kind of in the movie. He's presented as a drunk, but then he's like really in the academy.
Bones is a real humanist. I feel like especially through the series. You know, he's kind of always the voice of this human morality of not always looking at everything from the point of logic, but from a different perspective.
But he also kind of tempers Kirk's character because Kirk wants to do the right thing, going for it, and Bones sometimes has to pull him back in. And so Kirk and Bones are best friends, and Bones hates Spock because he feels that he doesn't have any humanity to him, right? And so there's always this tension between.
But
between
Spock
the three
is
of them.
half human,
right?
Yeah,
Because
his mom's Winona Ryder.
His mom is Winona Ryder, really? In the movie,
Yeah.
she makes an appearance.
Yeah,
that's right. She's his mom.
like right at the beginning.
Really?
Quite odd,
throughout the movie, yeah.
Well, I know I remember that it made a reference to his mom, but I didn't realize it was Winona Ryder.
Yeah,
That's lame.
Yeah, how old are we getting now that Winona Ryder's playing
My mom, I
mothers
know.
and grandmothers?
Yeah, I
and
remember
stuff.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so all in all, the movie is great. I really actually enjoyed the character who played Spock because, as I said, I've only seen him on Heroes, and he does a pretty good job on Heroes. So it was actually refreshing to see him in this movie. And also, Eric Bana was the villain. Right? That was really cool.
Hottie McHot. Speaking of rebranding. Yeah, I mean, Klingons, they're cool, but they're not the best looking. He was
Well, he had
a welcome addition to that.
Well, although the makeup did cover up a lot of that. He had like one forehead / nose type thing going on there.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah.
All right, so all in all, you guys obviously recommend it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go ahead and watch it.
was a
I would
cool
watch.
movie.
I recommend the whole thing. The whole shebang.
And
all
the whole
35,000 hours of Star Trek footage out there.
And
Go
as
check it
with
out.
the other movies, there is like a 12-minute sequence where they're showing the Starship Enterprise, where
as it's coming out of
as
dock,
it's like
yeah.
coming out of dock, and it's this kind of nerd-tastic, slow pan. It's like, I don't know, it's nerd porn, but
It is pretty cool, though, I must say. And the USS Enterprise looks really cool.
Yeah.
That ship. All right.
Does look good.
So go out, buy the DVD. It's probably out on DVD already, or buy
yeah.
the Blu-ray disc,
Mm-hmm.
and it's worth it. I actually watched it only about, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I really enjoyed it. I wish I would have seen it in the movie theater, because they said it was amazing.
Yeah,
it was.
good.
Yeah. it
All
was.
right. So that's all the time we have for today. Be sure to check it out. And if you have any questions or comments, visit our website, englishpod.com. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Cut! That's a wrap! Quiet on the set! Quiet, please! First positions, please! Rolling action!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Director's Cut. I'm joined here with Catherine
Hey.
and our skeptical movie critic, John.
Hey.
All right, and today we're going to talk about, well, a movie that's been really talked about and has become a big sensation all over, well, North America mainly, Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal activity is a very common phrase in the English language to mean things that ghosts do or spirits do.
Right. The paranormal. Well, that's the paranormal, right? It's like anything related to ghosts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah.
All right. So the movie basically is about some sort of poltergeist that's haunting this house, right? Or, well, this girl.
Exactly. And it's kind of like other movies that have come out, for example, like Cloverfield or even
The
back
Haunting.
the Haunting or the Blair Witch Project. These are all movies that try to look real. So they're done with cheap kind of handy cams, and there's a lot of rough cuts, and the acting seems like it's kind of, well, not acting,
Not
like they're
acting.
actually just saying real things.
Yeah,
Right.
it's that fake documentary type feel as well.
Exactly. And so it's a really scary movie because of this, because it feels like you could be those people, and you know, you could be experiencing what they're experiencing.
Right.
And I think it's easier to forget that
It's a movie.
that it's a movie because it looks like someone really shot it on their own camera.
And it also looks like houses that, you might have been to in the States.
Or you live in.
Or that you live in, because it's just a suburban house.
And actually, I had a more real connection to it as well, because my wife introduced me to the movie, and she likes this TV show called The Ghost Hunter.
I've heard of
Have
it.
you heard of this? It's supposed to be real. So these people go to homes and they film. They do a lot of the same things that the guy does in this movie. And those are supposed to be real. I don't know if they really are. But
Yeah.
So it looked a lot like The Ghost Hunter.
Ah. Well, that's the thing, right? So the whole paranormal thing about ghosts and, well, as you say, it's very homemade. But how did it differ from the Blair Witch Project? Because back when that came out, it was a big sensation as well. But then many people really hated it after they watched it.
The Blair Witch Project was like maybe the first of its kind. I think the first fake real movie that they had a whole story for. You go onto the website, and the website tells the story of the movie. It doesn't tell the
synopsis or anything.
It's not like a normal website where they say, okay, the director is this person, and we
Right,
filmed
right.
it in a studio, and blah blah blah. It actually tells a fake story, and so. I think the problem with the Blair Witch Project is that it was really boring because nothing actually happens.
Yeah,
You
they
know
were
what I mean?
lost in the woods and they were running around and
And then
they're lost.
And then
and then in the end, the camera falls, and that's
And
pretty
that's
much it. Yeah. So this one was different because you had, well, this girl who apparently has a ghost following her around all the way from her childhood, and her boyfriend is determined to capture on video, and is kind of fascinated in a kind of I don't know, sick way about what's going on, right?
he doesn't seem to understand that it might be real. I mean, I think most of the movie he's acting like it's just some funny thing that he can play with. He can buy a fancy new camera and whatever. So he's very skeptical, okay? And that's part of the humor because they're a couple, so they're fighting the whole time.
Right, she's very stressed and she's crying over what's going on, and he's just like, we'll film it and we see what's happening. And
Whatever.
Yeah. So all in all, the movie is it was interesting because it actually came out 2 years ago, right? This movie is not new, but it's a very low budget independent film. And it was interesting the way that they did this because the website would say demand it in your city. So people would vote, and it was kind of like user based. So people would vote and demand the movie to be played in their local cinema. And then that's how it became like this huge hit.
That's amazing. Well, it did really well. I think they made tons of money, especially considering they only spent like $10,000 making it.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's like democratization of the movie making process, right?
Which is notoriously not very friendly towards outsiders.
Yeah, it was really interesting, the way that this worked. And well, yeah, as you said, it made a lot of money. I think it's around $90 million, and it cost $15,000 to film.
That's incredible.
So that's great. So we have a clip set up. What are we going to listen to?
Well, the couple, the boyfriend and girlfriend, they're concerned about the noises that they keep hearing, okay? And they're having a hard time sleeping. And because they have a little bit of proof now on the video camera that there might be something strange happening, they decide it's time to call in an expert. And so the girl calls in someone who's kind of like a ghost hunter, what John's talking about, his wife's on.
It's kind of like a psychic. Well, not a psychic. What do you call those?
I think she did call him a psychic.
A psychic?
Yeah, he's like a psychic. So he's able to see spirits or to read kind of energy.
Feel them.
Right. And so this is his first visit, and he's talking to them about what's going on, and she's telling the story of her haunting because it's not just happened here, it's happened before too.
All right. So let's listen.
And the boyfriend isn't being terribly respectful.
Yeah, he's very skeptical. All right, so let's listen.
So then, from the time you were 8 years old until now, have you experienced this periodically over the ensuing years?
Yes. From 13 on, it's happened periodically. Over the past few weeks, things have started happening again. These lights have been flickering, these ones that are in the ceiling. We've had water from the faucets turn on and off unexplainably.
Okay.
Or we'll come down, not turn on and off, but we'll come down and it'll be on. The sink will be on, running full blast, and neither one of us. We've heard banging on the walls, scratching sounds, like dragging down the wall kind of scratches.
So it's a long scratch as opposed to a little.
Right.
Okay. Most of the activity's in here, isn't it?
Yes, the vast majority of it. I've heard whispering. Sometimes I can't understand it. Sometimes it's saying my name.
Oh, so it specifically calls to your name?
It has before.
Throughout the ages, religious movements have good and bad entities. I mean, in the Christian faith, there's angels and there's demons. Angels being the good ones, and the demons obviously being the bad ones. No matter what the religion is, throughout history, there have been records of this sort of thing happening, regardless of whether you're religious or not. So it is reaching out to you. I don't want you to respond to it. I also need you to know that you can't run from it. You can't run from the house and expect that it's just going to stay here. If you moved from this house, it would follow you wherever you go. So what we need to do is to deal with it here. My area of expertise is dealing with ghosts. That's what I built my career around, helping people get in touch with people who have died, communicating with ghosts, the spirits of dead human beings. A demon is something different. That's an entity that relates to something that is non-human.
Okay.
A lot of debate and a lot of discussion about what that could be, but it's not a person. Okay? Dealing with demons is not my area. I'm very uncomfortable with it, and I'll tell you quite frankly, I sense that there's something going on in this house. I've heard what you've said, but there are feelings that were very strong when we were upstairs in the master bedroom. This entity, whatever it is, does not like the fact that I'm here. So you cannot run from this. It will follow you. It may lay dormant for years. Something may trigger it to become more active, and it will, over time, reach out to communicate with you.
But what about, all right, check this out. What if we just get the switchboard, right, and we find out what it wants, and then we just give it what it wants, and then gone?
Because what it probably wants is Katie. And if you do pick up a Ouija board and try to play games with it, the entity will sense that you're trying to communicate with it. And that's opening the door, inviting it in. There has been cases in history where these things do harm to people. Not a lot, but it has happened. And in some cases, albeit rare cases, people have died. I don't tell you this to scare you I tell you this to give you frank information. You need to know this. Do you understand me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I hope so.
All right, so interesting, this whole demon thing. Now, John, do you believe in psychics and demons or in ghosts and what he talked about and all these things?
Not really, but I'm agnostic. So.
Really?
I believe it's possible, but...
Well, there was an interesting question that was planted. It's like, well, you know, our bodies are made up of energy, right? And we're made up of atoms and electrons and basically just pure energy, right? That holds our bones together, skin and everything. So when we die, and apart from decomposing, what happens to all this energy that's contained in our bodies, right? Can it actually be that, you know, some sort of weird energy comes out and starts manipulating things around the world, or is it just like too far-fetched?
Personally, I think it's a little bit far-fetched because once our bodies die, we go into the ground and the energy, well,
becomes food.
The
and
organic
soil.
parts decompose and they become energy for, soil and plants, and they grow, and it's a whole cycle. I don't really believe in the whole spiritualism thing, so.
Do you believe like in all these ghost stories or pictures of like ghosts in the background or videos or, you know, sounds of doors closing?
I don't
stuff
really
like that?
believe in this stuff, but I do think that science does not have the full picture yet.
Mhm.
So I think there are some things that we can't quite explain. We probably will eventually be able to explain them, but the explanation is not necessarily ghosts.
Right. Like we give them personalities and names and characteristics, and we say, oh, this is the ghost of my great-grandfather who's angry and he's, you know, coming back to haunt us.
Yeah.
It's a little bit hokey.
Well, like for example, it's very popular in England, a lot of these old castles to create tours around them because people say that they hear things in the dungeons because so many people died, or that they're spirits, or that at night, you know, they see things, and even workers or guards there say, you know, yeah, I've seen these things. So it's I guess it's kind of like UFOs, right? A lot of people say or claim they've seen them, but did you really see a UFO, or was it just like a hot air balloon? I don't know.
I think it's much more likely that there's life on other planets than there's like
ghosts.
spirits and ghosts here.
Well, I did have one very interesting ghost experience, and it was kind of freaky, and it happened to my family and I. We were sitting at the dining table, and all of a sudden, a glass of water just started to move across the table by itself.
That's crazy.
So it was pretty creepy, I must say. And we were all just, you know, pretty amazed at what we were seeing, and there was no logical explanation behind it. It's not like the table was slanted or it
Was there an
wet.
earthquake?
No, there was nothing. It was weird because not only did it move across the table, but it started to rotate. So it was really strange. We were pretty freaked out.
Did you call in an exorcist?
No.
Where was this?
This was actually in the States. We lived in a house. It was, I don't know, maybe built in the 70s. And, well, my mom always claimed that something weird was going on because she always felt that she was being looked at, or she always felt somebody running or walking across the hall. But we never really experienced anything, or personally, no one did. And then this happened, and, well, you know, it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't like, oh, we got to get this house exorcised or whatever we call it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so there's a story for you, and it actually happened to all of us, so it's kind of weird. We can't really explain it. So maybe it wasn't an earthquake, maybe it was wind, or maybe it was the chill factor on the glass. I don't know.
How bizarre.
All right, so all in all, this movie, apart from being, well, there's not much blood and gore, would you recommend it?
Definitely. I thought it was legitimately a very scary movie.
Yeah, very scary. Bone
Very
chilling.
scary. Bone chilling.
What about you, John?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was really interesting too. Like, we've had Blair Witch Project, we've had some other similar movies, and it kind of does something a little bit different and new. It's cool.
All right, and I know that you didn't really get scared, but your wife couldn't sleep for like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
All right, well.
But it was scarier than I expected, actually.
Yeah?
Me too. Yeah, I definitely like covered my head with the blanket and like refused to watch the parts where they have the night scenes where they're in bed.
Oh, that's good.
So to actually really get the emotions out of it, you should watch it at night with the lights off and the volume up really high, right?
And crack open a window outside because it'll make the doors in your house creak and slam.
Wow, all right. So that will really give you the atmosphere for a scary movie. All right, so if you have any other questions or doubts or any comments about this movie, if you've already watched it, you can come to our website, englishpod.com. And thank you, John and Catherine.
Thanks.
All right,
See
thanks.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap. Quiet on the set. Quiet, please. First positions, please. Rolling action.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Director's Cut. My name is Marco, and I am actually here by myself today. We have no co-hosts, but not to worry. Today we're going to talk about a great movie, an animated film that came out recently called Ice Age 3. All right, so this film was actually very, very anticipated by many people around the world because, well, Ice Age 1 was a very funny story of a mammoth, a woolly mammoth, who was a type of prehistoric long-haired elephant, a sloth, that is also an animal that still exists today, and a saber-toothed tiger, which is also an extinct animal that existed long before. And basically the story follows some adventures that they get into, but mainly also one of the main and favorite characters is a little prehistoric squirrel that is chasing around an acorn. So this is one of the funniest parts of the movie, because as the squirrel chases all these acorns, or well, one acorn, the acorn falls or he falls and he's just having a really hard time of breaking it or getting the food that's inside. Ice Age 3 was different from all the others because it was also released in 3D format. So it was really, really interesting because you can go to the movie theater, put on some 3D glasses, and you could see in 3D the characters, and it was really interesting to see that, and it was released in many movie theaters in this way. If you buy the DVD, I don't think you can actually see it in 3D anymore, but if you did have the opportunity to see it in the movie theater, it was really interesting. On this occasion, in Ice Age 3, they also have another adventure, and I think the mammoth, the woolly mammoth, is expecting a baby. So he's trying to protect his wife, but then the sloth, his best friend, gets lost, so they go out and look for him. And now it's interesting because a new character was introduced in this movie. First, it was a female squirrel who was also chasing the acorn. So the little squirrel meets the female squirrel, and they fall in love while they're chasing the acorn. And also a strange type of maybe like hamster or some type of weird other animal that has an Australian accent. So he was very funny because he only had one eye and he was surviving in the jungle with all the crazy, big, huge dinosaurs. So actually we have an extract from this part of the movie, so we can listen to it now.
Sadly, yes. But I lived.
Oh.
Never had I felt so alive than when I was so close to death. Just before Rudy could suck me down his gullet, I grabbed hold of that gross, pink, fleshy thing that dangles at the back of the throat. I hung onto that sucker, and I swung back, forth, and back, forth, and back, forth, and back, forth, and back. And forth, and back, and forth, until finally I let go, and I shot right out of his mouth. I may have lost an eye that day, but I got this. Rudy's tooth. Dang. It's like the old saying, an eye for a tooth, a nose for a chin, a butt for a... Well, it's an old saying, but it's not a very good one.
You are Super Weasel, Ultra Weasel,
Diesel Weasel. Bat, 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 boom, 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 boom. What? He is. Now, let me tell you about the time I used a sharpened clamshell to turn a T-Rex into a T-Rachel.
Yes, Master.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's enough fairy tales for one night. Come on, Ellie. You should rest now.
Life of the party.
All right, you guys get some shut-eye. I'll keep watch.
Don't worry, Buck. We got this. Nighttime is possum time. Yeah, we own the night, baby.
All right, we're back. So as you can see, it was pretty funny the way that he was talking and explaining what was going on. And well, I pretty much recommend this movie to anyone that wants to watch it. It's not only funny for kids, it's a great children's movie, but also for adults. So Ice Age 3 is a film that you can go with your brother, little brother or sister, or your son or your daughter. You can watch it and have a good time. And the English used in this film was pretty entertaining and easy to understand. So this is a great film to help improve your listening, to help improve your understanding of English, and laugh at the same time. So that's all the time we have for today. I hope to see you next time on Director's Cut, and until next time, goodbye.
sure she could clap.
Quiet on the set. Quiet, please. First positions, please. Rolling action.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Director's Cut. My name is Marco, and I'm joined here with
Liliana.
Yes, all right. Liliana's back, and today we're going to talk, just the two of us, about this movie, Up.
Up.
So, like up as in going up.
Yes.
All right, so this is actually it's an animated film. It's a CGI animated film. Well, it's a very interesting film. I thought it was...
You loved it.
I loved it. I thought it was very, very funny and very deep at the same time. It has a very good message.
Exactly. It has a great message. I think also, like the characters they have, like both the old man and the kid, they're great.
Very good.
Yeah.
The voice acting was amazing.
Exactly. It was very well done. A lot of imagination. It's amazing how people can have this type of stuff in their brain.
Right.
Right?
They just put it on film and it's amazing. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's very creative, and of course it's a fantasy, right? Because the movie talks about how a man takes his house by tying it to a lot of balloons and travels all the way to South America, to like Venezuela, I think.
Yeah.
Because that was where he once dreamt of going.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie starts out in a very deep way, because it starts out as this old man when he was a kid.
Yes.
Right.
And it's a great love story. And when it starts and then something happens, and I cried.
Yeah, I know. You can't help but crying.
Yes.
The movie just starts. And for the first 10, 15 minutes, you're like, wow, that was
sad.
It was sad, but it actually makes you think, you know, because then you're like, he is old now, and maybe he's too old to do all the things that he once dreamt of doing and traveling and going places. And when he finally decided to do it, it was too late.
Yeah, I think the great message this movie has, I think it refers a lot to the culture we live in, and especially in the US, that all the money you have, you spend it on, in your house, fixing stuff, in the car, in this and that. And at the end, you don't spend it in things that are going to make you 10 times happier,
Right.
which is like traveling, seeing the world. And also what I like about the movie is that he has all this attachment to something that are like his house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's physical stuff. It's not important. So in the end, he has to let go of that, and he realizes that it's not important. In the
Right.
end, you die and you don't take your car, you don't take your
Right.
house, right? So you might as well
live life.
Yes, and spend it in things that are just, I don't know, more valuable.
Right, exactly. I think that was one of the most important messages of the movie. And as I said, it's in a very entertaining film, and you would think that a cartoon or an animated film is for kids only, but I watched it and I really enjoyed it. You watched it as well, and you thought it was great. So it's a perfect balance between a film for children that you can take your kids to the movies or to rent the DVD, but you can actually enjoy watching it as well. It's not like a dumb cartoon. It's actually good. It has a deep message. And
It's great for adults.
Yeah, for adults as well.
Yes, for adults it's really good because also it makes you think about, when people are like 60 or 70 or whatever, they're like, well, I'm too old.
Right.
But that's another message that you're never too old. It's
Never
never
too
too
late.
late. If
Right.
if you're alive, if you are healthy, then
you can do it.
You can do it.
Right.
Right.
So we actually have a clip of the movie, and it's in the first instance. That's pretty funny when the old man meets the kid, because the kid is kind of like a Boy Scout, or it's one of those groups where they do different things and they earn patches and they go camping and stuff like that. And the kid has to help an old person do something so he can get this award or this patch for helping the elderly. So this is the first moment where they meet, and it's pretty funny because, the interaction and the age difference, and the old man is kind of grumpy and annoyed. So let's listen to the clip.
Good afternoon. My name is Russell, and I am a wilderness explorer in Tribe 54, Sweat Lodge 12. Are you in need of any assistance today, sir?
No,
I could help you cross the street.
No.
I could help you cross your yard.
No.
I could help you cross your porch.
No.
Well, I gotta help you cross something.
No, I'm doing fine.
See these? These are my Wilderness Explorer badges. You may notice one is missing. It's my Assisting the Elderly badge. If I get it, I will become a senior Wilderness Explorer. The wilderness must be explored! Go, go! Roar! It's gonna be great. There's a big ceremony, and all the dads come, and they pin on our badges.
So, you want to assist an old person?
Yep. Then I'll be a senior Wilderness Explorer.
All right, so that's when they meet, and that's actually when the story together begins, because then, well, by accident, the boy ends up going with the old man, and the adventures and everything is really, really good movie.
It is. I really like it.
As I said, it is a little bit too much fantasy at times, because obviously you can't fly around the world in your house, but, you know, it's worth watching, and I didn't really recognize the voices of any famous actor or actress.
You didn't?
No, I didn't really recognize them, but they were very good, though.
Yeah, they're great. I think it's a great job to have.
Yeah, to be a voice actor of those types of things.
Definitely.
I would like to see it in another language, because they did a pretty good job of, like, for example, movies like Shrek, or like when you watched it in English, it's really good because you have Eddie Murphy and Mike Myers and Cameron Diaz.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I watched it in Spanish, it was really funny because you also had very good voice actors and pretty famous people from Latin America who did the voices.
Yeah, and they're comedians.
Exactly, and you would think that the jokes would get lost in translation, but they're very well done.
Actually, they're even better because they're more, you know how in Spanish and, well, in English you can also have it. You have this other meaning of things.
Yeah, like double meaning.
Yeah, double
stuff.
meaning. And so it's really funny.
It's really good. So if you have time or if you can find the DVD, I recommend that you go out and get Up. And, well, if it's too hard in English, you could also watch it in your own language. I'm sure you'll enjoy this movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions or doubts, we'll see you on our website, englishpod.com.
See you next time.
Bye.
That's a wrap. Quiet on the set. Quiet, please. First positions, please. Rolling action.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Director's Cut. I am joined here with Bill.
Hello, everyone.
And Scarlett.
Hi.
All right, so today we're going to talk about the phenomenon, or, well, like the great new film coming out, or, well, it's in theaters already.
Yeah, it's already out.
2012.
It's huge.
So it's the date 2012. That's the name of the film, 2012.
It's larger than life.
2012. All right, so we've actually haven't seen this one because it's actually still in the movie theaters. But Scarlett has, so she's going to drop some insight on us.
I'm the only one that's seen it.
Yeah. So this is just going to be you talking about it.
So we know that it's this whole apocalypse about the year 2012, right?
December
21st.
21st in particular.
Right. So there are a lot of websites out there that talk about this and how apparently the Mayan calendar ends on this date, right?
Yeah, but Bill was saying that actually it doesn't. Well, the calendar ends, but the world doesn't end.
That's up to interpretation. I think most mainstream Mayan scholars, this is what I read on Wikipedia, none of them actually, I think all mainstream Mayan scholars agree that the world is not coming to an end
right
on that date.
But according to the calendar, there's going to be an alignment of the planet with some star.
Yeah, but I've heard that. I've heard that too. But I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what happens. There is an equinox. I think it's the winter equinox or something. On the 20th of 2012.
All right, so
Okay.
but basically,
How depressing.
basically, what people say is that the world will come to an end.
It's
As we know it. The world
it's an
as we know it.
apocalyptic vision for the way the world will end. On that.
But it's not like Armageddon or something. We're not going to get hit by a comet, right, or a meteor.
Well, they don't know. They say maybe that's what the calendar is predicting.
Oh, really?
Is that the world will? That's always been my interpretation. It's just that the calendar ends on that day, so maybe anything could happen.
There's another theory that there might be some weird phenomenon where the Earth will kind of like tilt.
It's like the polar reversal, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. The poles are going to reverse, so like everything's going to go chaotic.
So it'll throw the axis of the world. There's numerous theories on how people just sit around and think about horrible ways that
How the
that
world's
life
gonna end.
Yeah, how the world will end.
All right, so what happens in the film? Because the film starts out like that. The Mayans warned us this day would come.
I just want to note before we get into the film. This is something really interesting. Is that from what I've read, this vision, this apocalyptic idea, just the idea of apocalypse and the world ending, is a very Western notion, and it's actually really based in in the Bible and Christianity. Sure. The end of the world, Revelation, stuff like that. So when these
Judgment Day and stuff.
Yeah, so when these ethnologists go into ethnologists, what are they called?
Which ones?
Anthropologists. When the anthropologists go,
I'll not do that.
well,
again.
it's an I don't know, whatever.
It's an ethnia.
When they go into and they talk to Mayans about the calendar and about what'll happen on that date. Nobody even has this conception that like the world will end.
Well, my theory is also like, all right, the Mayans were creating this calendar, and it's like they're back in like 1,000 years ago and whatever, and they're like, all right, I think this is a round, even, nice number. Let's just stop here. Why go further? It's like right now. It's like
maybe they just got tired. They just didn't want to write anymore.
It's like right now.
Seriously, that's like, as plausible as the world is ending. That's much more plausible than the world.
It's like right now somebody printing out calendars for the next 2,000 years. Be like, no, maybe we should print out more.
Well, what I've read is it's a really complicated number scheme, and it's just the end of this current cycle. So there's cycles of about 5,000 years.
Right.
And so that's the end of this cycle that they were most active. But then that doesn't necessarily mean there won't be another cycle after that.
And also the calendar, you were saying the calendar doesn't actually say anything about, it just ends. It doesn't say that.
It just ends.
Yeah, that's
a meteor is going to hit us and we're going to die.
They don't say like, all right, this is it.
Who knows though? We're just trying to comfort ourselves because we know the world is going to end.
All right, so how was the movie? The graphics, I understand, like the visual effects were amazing.
Yeah, they were really good. Basically, the film starts in 2009, and when they first discover that there's basically in the film they say that the chips of the sun are like burning away the core of our Earth, and so we're melting from the inside. Something like that. I didn't quite understand.
So it kind of taps into people's latent fears about global warming.
Yeah, definitely. Like. And then, the world starts getting warmer and warmer, and sort of like get mini earthquakes in California.
All right.
I think it is. And people are getting more and more.
Because there's also that prediction that California's going to fall off the map, right?
Well, that
caused
really by seismic activity might split off into the ocean or something.
So this movie also...
Wait, and so America gets really screwed in the movie.
Yeah, they're the first to go, literally.
Of course.
But we're okay in China.
I'm really interested in how these, especially movies like this, these really mass-produced, mass-marketed movies like reflect kind of the current state of people's minds in the world.
That especially people are like sad and depressed.
Yeah, people are really nervous, and people are very, unsure of what's going to happen in the future. So, I mean, they market this movie directly to that feeling.
Of course.
I'm sure a lot of people aren't really sure. We got global warming, global terrorism, all these terrible problems.
Well, it motivates people to live their lives to the fullest before the Earth ends, right?
Yeah.
Well, now this movie stars John Cusack.
Yes,
right.
It does.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of weird though, because you never really see him as starring in this type of like apocalyptic
action.
movie.
Yeah,
you know,
action
Will
movie.
Smith, it was cool in Independence Day, Bruce Willis in Armageddon,
Yeah.
like John Cusack doesn't really fit.
He was a bit of a surprise, actually.
Was he good?
Yeah, I thought he was really good. Except the thing that annoyed me was like throughout the whole film, the main family, none of them die. You know,
Really?
they're in this plane and they're flying around. You've got skyscrapers falling down. You've got trains running into them, but they managed to survive. It's just ridiculous.
I wish
Like-
they would make more movies like that. More.
Well, I think one of the children should have
sad.
died or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow,
that would be so
Scarlett.
much more believable.
Such a dark heart you have.
Could make a fan remix film. Where,
Yeah, they should.
where all the children die.
Well, no, not all of them. That's just a bit dark, but like just one because it would so happen.
Sacrifice.
Yeah, one and the dog, right?
Yeah. Oh, the dog. Oh, there is this annoying little dog in there.
Oh, really? Wow.
And it does
I
survive,
guess.
actually. Yeah.
Wow.
Sure, it wasn't trained. It probably wasn't trained properly when it was a puppy.
Oh no! Oh no! We're not going into this, Bill. No.
All right. So the sound effects I heard were amazing. The visual effects were amazing. The storyline was good because I don't really see how you can have a storyline about, you know, the world ending or how one man can't save the earth, right?
Yeah, that was what I liked about it because you know, in like Armageddon, it's sort of Bruce Willis. He's the
hero.
It's his responsibility. Whereas in this film, there's no main guy who's all the pressure's on.
Mhm.
John Cusack's not like the hero. He
He's
doesn't
just trying
do
to
anything.
survive.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was kind of good. Cool.
How long was the movie? Like an hour and a half, 2 hours?
2.5 hours.
Wow,
It's quite
long.
long. Yeah.
Long movie.
Yeah.
We would have a clip, but since this is in theaters, we can't really do it. And, you know, trailers don't really give you much because half of it is in text, so we can't really put that forward. But as soon as we do have a clip, we'll definitely we'll put the trailer on the website, a link to it, so you can watch it either on YouTube or another video sharing website. But yeah, I think the movie was pretty good. I've heard very good comments about it. And of course, as Bill mentioned, all the Mayan anthropologists came out and said, well, just don't worry, the world's not going to end. So, and the Mayans never predicted it. And well, I don't know. Even if they did, though, would you like still believe them?
I don't know. I don't think so.
It's like, yeah, it's like.
I mean, there would need to be evidence for. I mean, Scarlett could tell me the world's going to end. I probably should listen to Scarlett more than I should Mayans.
Although they did.
Scarlett, is the world going to end?
The Mayans supposedly they did predict that the Spanish were going to arrive and a couple of other phenomenon.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of.
anyways, it was a great movie, I think, and I think we might go watch it in the movie theater this weekend.
Yeah, you should. It's good.
I think, Bill, are you up for that?
IMAX? Well, can we watch it at the IMAX?
Are they playing it in an IMAX movie theater?
I don't know. I watched it in Hong Kong.
Oh.
You watched it in Hong Kong.
I did.
Look at you.
Should we go to Hong Kong?
Go to Hong Kong. Yeah.
All right, guys. So that's all the time we have for today. And if you have any questions, doubts, or comments, you know to find us at englishpod.com. And we'll see you guys there.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap. Quiet on the set. Quiet, please. First positions, please. Rolling action.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine.
And this is Director's Cut. And today we're going to talk about a very anticipated movie and about a very popular artist, Michael Jackson.
Okay, so the movie's title is This Is It.
This Is It.
And it came out recently, and the reason it's maybe gotten a lot of publicity is because Michael Jackson died last summer in 2009, and the movie was made about the tour that he was supposed to go on, so it doesn't talk about his death at all.
Right. So actually, they were going to release this footage as part of the tour, right? As
That's
promotional, and well, usually they do film while they're preparing for the tour and practicing and rehearsals and stuff. But since Michael died, they put the footage together and they released it as a movie where basically you see Michael Jackson in his last days before he dies.
Exactly, and the movie was kept the same. They didn't put any recent comments or information in it, so it's just a look at his day-to-day for the last, during the last couple months of his life. It's really fascinating.
So it's not like a movie where people say, oh, he was a great artist, we're gonna miss him, and he was amazing. It's more like, it seems like he's still alive, right?
Yeah, it's not a tribute at all. I mean, in many ways, the movie doesn't make him look very good because he's difficult to work with. He's very obsessive about having perfect music and dance steps, and he wants everyone around him to do things perfectly. And he's also very unhealthy, so you can see that he's very sick, maybe has a problem. He's very skinny, and he's just not as athletic as he used to be because he's getting older. So in that way, the movie is surprising because you get to see Michael Jackson in a way that you've never seen him before.
Interesting. And, well, it is something that was a little bit well known about him was the reason why he is so good and, well, the best dancer in the world is because he is a perfectionist like this, and he wanted his concert to be amazing. Like all of them, all his concerts were just spectacular, right?
That's right. And if you think about it, I was actually talking to a friend of mine the other day about this. There's an idea called the 10,000 hour rule. It means that if you do something for 10,000 hours, you can become an expert. Even if you're not musical, even if you're not a dancer, if you do something for 10,000 hours, you'll be an expert. And so we calculated by the time Michael Jackson was 15, he had already done 10,000 hours of song and dance.
Really, yeah.
He was in the Jackson 5 since he was a child.
6, yeah.
And so for 10 years, you figure about 1,000 hours a year, that's a lot of time practicing singing and dancing. And of course he became, one of the greats in music history.
In authority in music, right? Yeah, I remember when I watched on TV his last concert that I watched was in Budapest. I think it was the Dangerous Tour. And it was spectacular. It was like a 3-hour long concert. And he sang his greatest hits, all the great songs. But not only that, it was a true performance. The stage, the lighting, everything was just amazing. So I can imagine that he wanted to present this to his fans, right? I think for him, his fans were really, really, really important.
That's right. And what's sad about the movie is that it looks like the concert would have been amazing.
Right.
They have fireworks, they have lifts, they have amazing dancers, backup dancers, and very cool sets. And so you're watching this and you're thinking, oh, shoot, I really would have liked to see this concert.
Yeah.
But then the sad reality is that he died.
Right. Yeah, I know a lot of people in London who were really, really upset. And even people around the world who actually bought tickets and were going to travel to London just to see Michael Jackson perform.
That's right. It's kind of a special occasion, right? Because he hasn't been on stage in quite a few years.
Right. So we actually have a clip prepared of the movie, and this is the very beginning of the movie where you can actually find them in trailers as well, is when dancers are being selected. So there's a group of thousands or hundreds of dancers, and only a few dozen are going to be selected to be the backup dancers for Michael Jackson in this concert.
That's right. And the filmmaker is interviewing these people after they get chosen to find out how they feel about being able to dance with Michael Jackson.
The man is here. We're all here because of him. May that continue, with him leading the way.
This is the moment. This is it. It's an adventure. It's a great adventure. You want to take them places that they've never been before. You want to show them town like you've never seen before. Let's do it one more time. I love you. I really do. We're family, just know that.
You've been hit by, you've been struck by a smooth criminal.
Hold for applause, fade out.
Michael has a depth to him that people don't really know.
This is a dream come true. When MJ comes in the room, his presence is just amazing.
That's why I write these kind of songs. It gives some sense of awareness and awakening and hope to people.
I'm starting with the bang in the middle. Oh, yeah.
about this.
I feel so blessed that I can give the world that. Let's offer love. L-O-V-E.
All right, we're back. So obviously everyone is honored, excited, and just, I guess, like dumbfounded that they are going to dance alongside their childhood hero, right?
Exactly. They are in awe of this special opportunity. And obviously it's a lot of hard work for them. But imagine being 18 years old and being able to dance with the person who made you want to dance in the first place.
Yeah. And actually, a lot of interviews around R&B artists, hip-hop artists, all types of genres, their inspiration, and a lot of them grew up and were inspired by Michael Jackson's music and his dancing and everything. For example, Usher. I think Usher is like one of the main examples of somebody that grew up with Michael Jackson and aspired to be like him, and pretty much almost is, right?
Exactly. And someone like Justin Timberlake, too, who's kind of on the other side of things. He was in boy bands and whatever, but still talks about Michael Jackson as an idol. And
right.
Yeah, I think he had a huge impact on the world music, dance, and Usher is a great example of that.
Right. So it's sad that he's gone, but we recommend that you go out and watch this movie, this documentary movie, and it's definitely worth it. You're not gonna get a lot of great visual effects or anything. It's pretty much like a documentary, but it's definitely interesting to get an inside look at Michael Jackson, especially since he died. You can see how great the concert would have been.
That's right, and you get to remember all of those songs that you grew up with or that you've heard before and you love. So that's a nice piece of the movie as well. The fact that it's just full of this great classic music.
All right, so be sure to go out and watch it. And if you have any questions, doubts, or comments, you can visit our website, englishpod.com, and we'll see you guys there.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
That's a wrap. Quiet on the set. Quiet, please. First positions, please. Rolling action.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Director's Cut. My name is Marco, and I'm here with Liliana.
Hello.
And Catherine.
Hi, everyone.
And today we're going to be talking about the second part or the sequel of this Twilight saga. This movie is called New Moon.
Yay!
All right, so that's why Liliana is here, because you're a big fan of the first Twilight movie, right?
No, I'm not.
She's a
Yes, you
super
are.
fan of the books.
I'm not.
The movies, the photos.
You've read all 3 books or 5 books. How
Yeah,
many are there?
okay. I'm Team Edward. That's it. That's how big of a fan I am.
Okay, how many books are there? 3?
There's 4.
4.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's New Moon is the second one.
Yes, that's right. And I mean, it's a big hit. It's mainly with teens, right? But I don't know. I like it. The story is good.
Why? The story's not good.
Okay, first of all, you're not entitled to talk about it if you don't like it. Okay?
We don't like it.
This is not a democracy. This is a dictatorship.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
our president is Liliana.
You have to like it if you want to be in this studio.
I mean, for example, the first part when the vampire has shiny skin. How teenager was that?
Exactly, but that's my point. It's completely different. It's the first time that the vampire can be in the light and not like melt. It's different.
No, I mean, the
So
problem...
he's shiny. So what? He's
was
like a
lame.
diamond.
All right, so New Moon, apparently, from what I've read in the summary, without giving it away, is that the girl, after she got attacked by the bad vampires in the first one, she's recovering, and she's together with Edward, and the story goes on from there, and they introduce a new creature in this one, right?
Yeah, but not only that, the thing is, like, she has, all these worries that she's gonna grow up like older, right? Because she's alive. He's dead, right? He is 17 in a body of...
He's immortal, and she's not.
he's immortal, but he's like, I don't know, like 100 and I don't know how 35 years old or something. So she's thinking like, I'm gonna get older and he's gonna stay the same. So she's starting to think like, maybe I want to convert,
Right.
Maybe she wants to become a vampire. So she starts with all these ideas, and then obviously she has a best friend, and he is a werewolf.
Now he's a
He's
werewolf.
also really good looking.
Yes.
Who's this actor?
Maybe a love interest.
His name is Taylor Lautner or something.
Okay, so now there's a love triangle between a vampire and a werewolf.
Yes.
And a human.
And a human. There's also a human. Oh, well, the girl's a human.
The girl, Bella.
Wow. So she's like into kinky stuff. Like she's into vampires and werewolves.
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about this.
I know. This is for teens.
No.
Actually, that's something that's very interesting about this series. There's no sex.
Yeah.
So-
Well, there is.
There is in the first
I'm
one?
not
No.
going to tell you, but there is.
Well, a lot of people are saying that the movie is all tease. You know, it's just love interests. But unlike most movies for adults, there's none of that.
Yeah, but remember...
It's like puppy love.
No, but not only that. Remember, this is like a teen... It's for teens, right? So, but actually there is. But it's in the third book. Because they have to follow the... You know, the
But
traditional...
they're probably not going to include it, right? Because it's going to
They
be like...
have to. It's in the book.
Well, they won't.
I mean, they kind of
the
like...
movies are based on books. Not literally. They don't literally make everything that happens in the book happen in the movie.
Well, you know, they say that this the New Moon, it's pretty good. Because basically they did all the book. They really follow it. And Stephanie Myers, Stephanie Myers, which is the author of the saga of Twilight Saga, she said that she tried to put pressure in order to follow the book. But it's true, in the book, in that part, you know, the intimate part, they kind of like skip it a little. I was pissed off actually.
Of course. And I think probably they'll do the same in the movie because it is a teen movie. So you just remember in Harry Potter when they were like drinking beer, how scandalous that was. So imagine how many teenage girls and boys are watching this movie, and if they have like a sex scene in there, people are gonna be
But
upset.
I think they will do it.
You think they will?
Yeah, because they need a lift up, and they know that it's appealing not only to teens, but only to older, more beautiful women like myself, you know.
But the problem is it also is very appealing to tweens, which is this new demographic that we always hear about in the news.
Tweens.
So you have children and you have teens, and between those, you have tweens, which are people who are like 11, 12, 13 years old. They're on that kind of cusp, you know, the border of those age groups. And so I'm curious if they're thinking about that demographic when they're marketing and producing these movies, because maybe they don't want to alienate them or make their parents angry.
But that's the thing. It's going to be so difficult because it goes from 11 years old all the way to 55 years old. Like seriously, there's actually moms that go to like previews, and there's a teen mom Twilight fan, and it's amazing. Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. It's
kind of
huge.
creepy, huh?
Yeah,
it's very creepy.
It's because I mean it's a cult now
Yeah.
of these young 20-year-old stars.
And they already filmed the third one.
Oh, they did already.
Yeah. When they filmed the second one, they already filmed the third one. So, but there's 4. So.
I wonder if they're going to do the Harry Potter thing and make the fourth one into 2 movies so they can make even more money.
I'm getting kind of tired of these kids films though, like Harry Potter and Twilight and all like these things. Pirates of the Caribbean was okay, but yeah.
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
Getting kind
it's
of
a
long
little bit
and
silly.
boring.
Even Transformers and G.I. Joe and all these.
Yeah, those were bad, but this is different, I think. I like it.
All right, so New Moon is in theaters now. We haven't watched it because it hasn't been released in China.
Mm-hmm.
But we've definitely read all of the hype.
Yeah, we've read the hype, and Liliana has read all the books, and we've seen the trailers, so it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So hopefully we will be able to check out this film, and we recommend that if the DVD is available in your store nearby, you can get it.
And we hope to hear what you have to say about this movie. Don't, of course, spoil the ending for us. We haven't seen it, and we don't want to know what happens.
Especially Liliana, don't tell her because she's really angry.
Yeah, she will be. So
well,
please.
I know what is going to happen.
Yeah, right.
I read the book. Yeah.
So let us know what you thought about the movie if you saw it, or let us know why you're not going to watch it if you don't want to. Our website is englishpod.com. Of course, we're there to answer questions as well. So if you have any questions about the things we talked about today, just let us know.
All right. We'll see you guys there.
Bye-bye.
Bye.